Fox Sports.
We are Black Hawk. We are Wisconsin.
Back on the road for the Brew Crew, a three-game series against the St. Louis Cardinals, a team they just saw a few days ago at Miller Park. A series where the Cardinals took 2 out of 3. Week-long road trip will take Craig Counsell's team from here on to Citi Field in New York for a weekend set. Tonight, Yolis Chassin back on the mound, making his third start of this young season, his second chance against the Cardinals. Took a loss last Wednesday at Miller Park. Miles Michaelis on the mound for the Redbirds. He ruined, in large extent, the home opener for the Crew last Monday at Miller Park. Gave up 3 home runs, but he hit a 2-run homer 7 days ago. Good evening from Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Alongside Bill Schroeder, I'm Matt LePay. Sophia Minert is our reporter. Brian Anderson will be back in a few weeks. Rocket was a tough homestand for the Brewers. We know that. But what we also know, we have to remind ourselves, the Brewers and the Cardinals, this was a good matchup for the Crew last year, especially here in St. Louis, where the Crew took care of business.
Yeah, 7-3 here at Busch Stadium. The Brewers had a rough homestand at the plate. They got shut out 3 times, and you know, being on the road, not so bad. They were 3-0 in San Diego, but the familiar surroundings here at Busch Stadium, you can see what they were able to do. Over 5 runs a game. They were swinging the bats extremely well. And in the ballpark that really doesn't allow a whole lot of home runs. They had 14 home runs, more than 1 a game. So I think being here at Busch Stadium, it is rather cool. But I think the Brewer bats are going to start getting it going. No better place than right here.
All right, we'll see if the Brewers can start a winning streak here tonight. Chassin and Michaelis, your pitching matchup. Lineups and first pitch coming up from St. Louis. Brewers and Cardinals on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Fox Sports Wisconsin is brought to you by Hupy and Abraham. Voted best, rated best. Hupy and Abraham, tell them you mean business. By Miller Lite, great taste and only 96 calories. And by Menards, save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. Don't let that picture fool you there. We have a cloudy and chilly night here in St. Louis. Upper 40s right now. It'll dive down to the low 40s by the time we wrap up. No roof here, so we will play on in some chilly April conditions at Busch Stadium, the opener of this 3-game series. The Milwaukee Brewers and the St. Louis Cardinals. Well, a lot of roster shuffling going on. We saw it a lot last year with this Brewers team, and we are seeing a good dose of it early this season, not quite 2 weeks into it. And with that, let's check in with Sophia Minert for today's edition, if you will, of the Brewers roster update.
Yeah, Matt, you're absolutely right. It seems like every game there's a roster move. Certainly General Manager David Stearns employing some active roster management here. So today, the latest move, yesterday after the game, Adrian Hauser was optioned to AA Biloxi, and they have recalled outfielder Brett Phillips. We're obviously familiar with Phillips. He came up and made his Major League debut last year in June, had 4 different stints with the team, had a good start in Colorado Springs, just 4 games for him, had 1 hit, but got on base a lot with 7 walks. So Phillips is really excited to have this opportunity again, especially this early in the season. And he said, look, when I was demoted to AAA, he said, I understood why, but he said, I went down there with the mentality as if I had made the opening day roster and spent that time preparing as if I could come up and contribute right away. So he's excited to be here. It may be a short stint for him if the Brewers call up another starter on Wednesday. So for Phillips, he knows it could be a short stint, but he's ready to contribute in any way.
All right, thanks, Sophia. Yeah, organizational depth. We heard those words used a lot here, especially in spring training, and something that David Stearns and company, they've really wanted to build that the last few years, and we'll see Phillips here at least for the time being. But you mentioned it, Rock, in Brewers Live pregame. Adrian Hauser, that might be a pretty good story going on. You got Taylor Williams still with the big club, and Hauser looked pretty good against the Cubs, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. And unfortunately, it was one of those situations where it was going to be a short stint for him as well, but afforded himself extremely well. The Brewers are very pleased with some of the young arms they have down in the minor leagues. You might see one of them make a start. Who knows on Wednesday? The Brewers are going to need another start. You also have Junior Garrett down in the minor leagues, and he might be able to get a start. So, yeah, Brett Phillips here for a while. Gives Craig Counsell another left-handed bat on the bench. All of his right-handed outfielders are in the starting lineup today, and who knows, he might even get a start tomorrow.
All right, talking with Christian Yelich, of course, who's on the 10-day disabled list with the oblique injury. Is Craig Counsell navigating his team here through the first 10 games. They have split them a 2-5 homestand for the Brew Crew, and a very tough schedule. This is a challenging week. You get the rematch series already with the Cardinals, and then it's on to New York to take on the Mets, as we will check out tonight's Brewers batting order. As you see, Ryan Braun trying to stay loose. That's going to be a key here tonight in these cool conditions. And let's check out the Brewers batting order presented by Potawatomi, as Lorenzo Cain will lead things off, followed by Eric Thames and Ryan Braun. Travis Shaw hits cleanup, followed by Domingo Santana and Eric Sogard. Manny Pena hits 7th. Orlando Arcia is hitting 8th, and Yolis Chassin rounds out the Brewers batting order for this series opener tonight. And that's the lineup that will face, and they've seen him already last Monday at Miller Park. Miles Michaelis on the mound for St. Louis.
Yep, first start very good at Miller Park, and you can see 4 runs in 5 2/3. Those 4 runs all coming on 3 different home runs. Michaelis surrendered, but he did get the win. And Michaelis spent the previous 3 years over in Japan pitching, and here he is, his second start, both coming against the Brewers.
Yeah, the 29-year-old out of Jupiter, Florida. Let's check out the Cardinals D tonight here, Rock.
Hey, you got Ozuna, Pham, and Fowler in the outfield. These guys cover a lot of ground out there. Ozuna with a terrific throwing arm. Matt Carpenter at third base. You got DeYoung and Wong up the middle, and Martinez at first, and Yadier Molina behind home plate. Interesting day for him yesterday, Yadier Molina.
Yeah, to say the least. We'll talk about that as we move forward with this game tonight. Is in the lineup, and if anything disciplinary is coming his way, we haven't heard of it yet. And as a matter of fact, we can get into it now as we get ready for first pitch tonight. This was yesterday against the Arizona Diamondbacks. A.J. Pollock taking a called third strike that he did not particularly appreciate, nor did his manager, Torey Lovullo. Check this out.
He says something with respect to Yadier Molina's ability to frame pitches and make pitches that are ball strikes that Molina took offense to. Now check out Molina. That's Tim Timmons, the home plate umpire. Molina's pushing him all over the place 3 different times. And anytime you do that, ordinarily that's going to be at least an ejection, probably a fine, and maybe a suspension. But Tim Timmons saying incidental contact, no big deal, probably not going to have anything, any ramifications for Molina.
Yeah, definitely getting the benefit of the doubt. It reminded some folks around here of a big dust-up they had several years ago against the Reds in Cincinnati when Molina took exception to some comments made by then Red second baseman Brandon Phillips. Whatever you think about yesterday, Molina is a first ballot Hall of Famer waiting to happen. A great career, but that's one of those when you make contact with an umpire, you're thinking you might get hit, but you might not.
Yeah, you can't touch an umpire in those situations, and he pushed Tim Timmons 3 different times to get to Torey Lovullo. Can't do it.
You know, you need a rosin bag, so they were able to toss one out of the dugout, and tonight's starting pitcher is ready to go. We mentioned the 3 years he pitched in Japan and pitched very well over there, did Miles Michaelis. His last big league experience prior to this year with the Cardinals was 2014 with the Texas Rangers, and Michaelis begins with a fastball, and we are underway at Busch Stadium. Maybe being on the road is not a bad thing for any number of these Brewers, including Lorenzo Cain. He had a tough homestand, although he did have what could have been a game-winning RBI taken away on Saturday when he gave the Brewers the lead against the Cubs on a sacrifice fly, but the Cubs rallied with a big 4-run 9th inning.
Yeah, Brewers just ran into some really good pitching with the Chicago Cubs. The starting rotation, that is about as good as it gets in all of baseball. Their bullpen's been solid, so the Brewers glad to be done with the Cubs. And they've had great success offensively, at least last year, you know, against the Cardinals here at Busch.
Yeah, winning 7 of the 10 matchups here in St. Louis as Cain takes away 2 balls, 2 strikes. Crew came in here last April and won a series against the Cardinals, the first time they had beaten St. Louis in a series in a couple of years, and early indicator that 2017 Brewers team was going to exceed the outside expectations. Remember, Keon Broxton after the game was asked about that. You know, first time since 2014 that they had beaten the Cardinals in a series, and noteworthy comment as Cain goes down swinging to open up the night here at Busch Stadium. But Broxton to finish the point, Broxton was unaware, like you would figure most players would be. They had no idea. They were writing their own script last year, and what they did maybe sent a little message to everybody that they weren't going to roll over against St. Louis.
Young guys don't know the history. That's a good thing.
To write their own chapter. Here's Eric Thames. Mentioned in Brewers Live pregame, he continues to enjoy the month of April. 3 homers so far for Eric after the historic 11-homer performance last April. And some rare air with the early productivity the last couple of years.
And off to a good start with a long ball this year. 3 homers on that homestand. Michaelis surrendered one of those, a 2-run shot.
Yeah, the Brewers were able to go deep against Michaelis. Mentioned all the offense coming via the home run. As Thames slaps a ground ball to Colton Wong over at second. 2 up, 2 down to begin the game.
Yeah, other than the home run balls that he allowed, he pitched very well. He showed a very good curveball. He's got a little velocity behind the curveball. Throws about 95 miles an hour. He'll mix it up with a cutter once in a while and a changeup. But well, he threw strikes, and for the most part, you know, pitched pretty well for his first start in the big leagues in quite some time.
Yeah, that was the big story about Michaelis in Japan, was he was able to increase the velocity of the fastball. It went up a couple of ticks, and all in all had a pretty good day, including with the bat at Miller Park as he faces Ryan Braun with 2 outs and the bases empty. So we are just getting started here tonight. game where the players will be wearing lots of layers, and likewise the folks here at Busch Stadium in the stands this evening. Not much of a breeze. That's a bit of a break, but a cool night nonetheless, as Braun quickly down 2 strikes to nothing. More of a football type of day. It's going on though. The Cubs were snowed out this afternoon. White Sox got their game in, but on the north side not so lucky, and Braun goes down swinging. A couple of early strikeouts for Miles Michaelis as the Brewers go down in order. Time for Yolis Chassin to take them out. Bottom of the first we go. The first inning, and now the Cardinals have their first opportunity. Let's check out the batting order presented by Potawatomi. Dexter Fowler, Tommy Pham, Matt Carpenter at the top, Ozuna, Martinez, and Molina in the middle. Paul DeYoung, Colton Wong, and Miles Michaelis rounding out the Cardinals batting order against the Brewers starter Yolis Chassin, and he delivers a strike to Fowler.
He's got to exercise some demons against the Cardinals. His career, he has not beaten the Cardinals. He's 0-6, including a loss at Miller Park this year. Gave up 6 runs. 3 of those runs were earned in 5 2/3 in a 6-0 defeat.
Third start for his new team here tonight, and his second chance against St. Louis. First one coming against his former team, the San Diego Padres, as Fowler shoots one in the left center field. He's thinking 2 all the way. Here's the throw from Kane, and Fowler's out at second. Testing Lorenzo Cain, who cuts down Dexter Fowler, trying to stretch it into a double. And we have 1 out of the bottom of the first.
We already have our first potential review. That's a terrific throw from Lorenzo Cain. Had to be right on the money. That's a long way to go, and still able to get Fowler, who still runs pretty well. This is a perfect throw into second base. And Bill Welke, the second base umpire, rings him up, but a perfect throw by Cain. And down with the tag is Sogard. That's a good way to start. Yep, he gets him.
Big time defensive play for a team that needs a few of those, as well as converting the more routine plays. Well, the Brewers defense has been very choppy, and it certainly was the case in the homestand, but Cain turns in a highlight play right away as Tommy Pham settles in.
Taking advantage of Dexter Fowler trying to stretch a single into a double. It changes. That's a big deal right there. That's a terrific throw from Lorenzo Cain, and certainly takes the pressure off of Chassin right away.
Chassin trying to get things squared away, and his center fielder just helped him in a big way. First hitter of the night for St. Louis. Pham, a breakout year last year. It was a good year for Chassin in San Diego, as Pham with a fly ball hit into right field. And that's Domingo Santana putting it away for out number 2.
Well, let's check out the rest of the defense. You already saw Lorenzo Cain. He was busy early on here. You got Braun Santana flanking Cain in center field. You got Shaw Arcia. Sogar getting a start at second base. You got Thames at first, and Manny Pena with the day off yesterday, hanging the signs for Chassin tonight.
13 wins with the Padres a year ago. He faces Matt Carpenter, trying to get things going. He had a tough year at the plate in terms of batting average a year ago. Still, the on-base percentage was high. He's been a hitter who will look at a lot of pitches throughout the course of his career, has drawn a lot of walks, and already this season, although the average is below 200, he's still getting on via the walk a fair amount, and he hits one right into the shift, and that will retire the side. As that was Orlando Arcia out there in a short right, as the Cardinals are retired scoreless after 1. A big year last year, and he had some big moments here at Busch Stadium, including a long ball in extra innings that helped the Brewers win a game. It was a terrific year all the way around, and you see what he did here last year, Rock, big time.
Yeah, 11 RBIs in 10 games, a couple big home runs, and well, it was just one of those years for Travis. Seemed like everywhere he went, he was swinging the bat well.
A homer and 6 RBIs so far this season for Shaw. Second inning of work for Miles Michaelis. That'll even the count, a ball strike.
Yeah, that's that curveball we were talking about. He's got a very good one. He's got good break to it, a sharp break, a late breaking curveball, which is always the best.
Working with a little tempo as Shaw unable to check his swing, and he's down a ball, 2 strikes.
Hitters will tell you the later that curveball breaks, it doesn't have to be huge, but the later it breaks, the tougher it is to pick up.
Here comes the 1-2, and Shaw with a drive to right field. Fowler will look at it and bangs off the wall. Big turn for Shaw on his way to second, and he gets in there sliding. That was a rocket off the board to the corner in right field, and a leadoff double for Travis Shaw.
Yep, tried to slip one by him on the inside part of the plate, and Shaw would have nothing to do with it. And foul, you can run on that arm. You can see it right there. I mean, Travis waits back nicely and able to rip it off the wall. Didn't miss a home run by too much. So a good start to the second inning for Milwaukee. They need to get some runs on the board.
First hit of the night for the Crew. It was the hits with runners in scoring position. That was a huge stat that went against Milwaukee in the series against the Cubs. Just 1 for 19. The one won the game. Orlando Arcia, a walk-off on Friday, a walk-off single. But really, especially the last couple of games, hits were few and far between for the Brewers. See if they can move the line here a little bit. Here's Domingo Santana. That's back up the middle, and that gets through. Got through DeYoung. Here comes Shaw. He's going to score, and the Brewers grab the early lead.
There you go. Well, 1 for 1 runners in scoring position, partner.
Yes,
well
sir.
Done. 0 for 6 in yesterday's game, but you know, Domingo gets a curveball and bangs it right back up the middle.
First 2 reach for the Brewers here in the second inning.
Yeah, so important for the Brewers to get going early offensively, and not a better place than Busch Stadium to do it. You know, the fact that DeYoung knocked it down just a little bit, that gave Ed Cedar the okay for Shaw to go to score.
Here's Eric Sogard, second baseman for the Brewers here tonight. 1 for 14 so far is Sogard. Certainly Brewer fans very well aware of the lift he gave this team a year ago when he was called up in May. Had some big moments early last season. Battled injuries right about the time of the All-Star break. He was a big factor in the Brewers that first half of the season, especially.
And he doubled in the 8th inning against the Cubs a couple of days ago to get that rally going, and that was when they had that sacrifice fly from Kane that took the lead. Didn't last long, but he's starting to come around a little bit. His at-bats have been much better.
Yeah, it's been limited. I mentioned the 1 hit, but just the 14 at-bats. So getting some playing time here tonight as he takes a strike. 2-1 the count. Gets the roll tonight for Jonathan VR. If you're just checking in, Brett Phillips called up. See how long it will be. Phillips not in the lineup tonight. It could very well be tomorrow. Adrian Hauser option to Double-A Biloxi. Hauser pitched well yesterday against the Cubbies.
Man, he looked good. He and Williams. Hauser 2 scoreless innings, had a terrific curveball, and he was throwing hard.
Some good young talent. We may be seeing that shuttle throughout the course of this season. And Brandon Woodruff would be a part of that, among others. But Hauser was impressive. You mentioned Taylor Williams. He's a guy who shows no fear at all out there on the mound. Sogard goes the other way, right field, and that's Marcelo Zuna putting it away for the first out of the inning.
Now let's check out our Pizza Ranch for the win here tonight. They got to get the bats going. They've done that already here in the second inning, but you know, this offense is much better than what they showed back at Miller Park. Slider command for Chacin, very important. The fastball has good movement, but he's got to throw that slider in good spots with 2 strikes, and as always, no extra outs. Got to tighten up the defense.
Yeah, Craig Counsell has talked about that, and also after the game yesterday, he mentioned you got to find a way to get the bats going. But you know, we were both chatting with him during batting practice. He's been around long enough, and it's just part of the season too. I don't think there's a lineup out there that's slump proof. His team's gone through it. Dodgers have been shut out 3 times already. Who would have thought that?
Sometimes it takes guys a little bit longer to get going. No reason to panic quite yet. You get around May, then guys still aren't swinging the bats. I guess maybe that's the time to push the panic button a bit, but they'll come around.
Facing some very good pitching in the first couple of weeks. Manny Pena at the plate right now. Manny trying to get it going himself. Jose Quintana was very good. John Lester, very good. Carlos Martinez.
Darvish. They faced some pretty good pitching.
And more to come. Martinez will be tomorrow's starter for St. Louis. And then from here, the Brewers go on to New York, and a balk has been called as Santana will advance.
Seen a couple of balks already this year. Brewers were guilty of a balk. There it is. Kind of a flinch right there, and second base umpire saw it. Bill Welke called the balk.
So another runner in scoring position. 1-0 the count to the catcher, Manny Pena. Michaelis made his big league debut back in 2012. He was with the Padres at that point. 25 appearances that year for San Diego. Had just a couple the next year and moved on to Texas. With the Padres, he did not start. He came out of the bullpen. He had 10 starts with the Rangers in 2014. And then it was off to Japan as Pena will send one into center field. That's hit pretty well, but room for Tommy Pham to put it away as Santana tags, and he will move on to third. 2 outs here in the second.
Yeah, you're going to have to hit one pretty good to get it out here tonight. I mean, wind looks like it's blowing in a little bit. Very chilly. What are we in the 40s?
Upper 40s. Gloves weather for some of us.
Tommy Pham's got the face covered. This is character builder. It was nice that BA had you do your first game in the cold.
Yeah.
It had some nice weather. You know, San Diego and under the roof.
Yeah, originally I thought I was going to be out there for a game. He said, you know what, I got it.
I got it. I'll take San Diego.
It's a veteran move.
Yeah.
He was jealous he missed that trip last year. Here's Orlando Arcia. It's interesting with the Brewers, we can run down the batting average of a lot of these players, and you know, numbers at this time of year can be really out of whack. But to put in perspective, Arcia and Braun, they have combined for 9 hits, but 4 of those hits have won games.
Saving them for the big moments.
Big time. Here's the 0-1 pitch. And that's down the line, a fair ball. That's an RBI for Arcia as Santana's in, as Arcia digging for second. And it's a 2-0 lead here for the Brewers.
Well, that's just a beautiful swing by Arcia right there. The Brewers want to see more of that from him.
Nice job.
They're letting the ball travel, whistling it inside that first baseline, and Domingo Santana able to come around to score. Fastball in 95, and he pulls the hands in and rips it down the line for an RBI double. There's a good start to the offense tonight.
Yeah, maybe that second game seeing Michaelis. They saw him in Miller Park last Monday in the home opener. After being in Japan for 3 years, able to get a live read on Michaelis, and the first time through doing a little damage as Ulysses Chassin is the hitter.
This guy can hit a little bit too. That's just a beautiful piece of hitting by Arcia. Taking the ball to right field. Gotta love that.
Chassin had 4 RBIs last year to Rock's Point. Had 12 hits.
Hey, a career 193 hitter. That's not bad for a pitcher.
Not bad at all. No, Michaelis homered in that game last week in Milwaukee, a 2-run home run. The Cardinals pitcher actually homered in each of his last 2 years in Japan.
He's a big guy. You make a mistake, he might be able to, get a hold of one.
2-1 pitch to Chassin, behind on that mid-90s fastball to even the count. RBI double for Orlando Arcia. 2 runs in this second inning for the Crew. Getting the early jump here against the Cardinals in St. Louis. 2-2 pitch. Curve is slapped to DeYoung. And this will end the inning, but a good inning it is for the Brewers. 3 hits and a couple of runs as the Milwaukee Brewers get on the board. Travis Shaw starts this inning with a double off the wall in right. Domingo Santana picks him up with an RBI single to center, and Orlando Arcia knocks one down the right field line. 2-0 Brewers in the second.
Take a 2-0 lead here in the second inning at Busch Stadium. And tonight's starter, Jhoulys Chassin, said even though the results have not been there in his first 2 starts, he feels that he's really close to where he wants to be. He said his sinker is moving a lot. He said he knows he needs to get better control of that pitch to get more ground ball outs, wants to throw that pitch more for strikes. And he said with the slider, he said he's not getting a lot of swing and a miss right now, and that's really his go-to pitch, but he feels that if he can keep that down and away, he said he's having a tendency to move more towards the middle of the plate. That's been a focus for him in his bullpens, is getting better control of that slider and getting more swing and a miss on that pitch.
Yeah, throwing it for strikes, you know, early in the count and getting it out of the zone late in the count when he's ahead. You know, sometimes, you know, it's kind of the opposite. You throw the slider, you throw that perfect slider, you don't get the swing on it, and then maybe you hang one with 2 strikes.
Facing Marcell Ozuna, the cleanup hitter, leading off the home half of the second inning. And at Sophia's point, Chassin had the slider going last year to the tune of a career high in strikeouts, 153. Led the Padres in that department as well as wins with 13. A lot made of the home road splits last year, but you also have to remember in his career, he pitched for the Rockies for 6 years. A good season, especially in 2013, a wave and a miss from Ozuna here. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Yeah, 389 earned run average for Chassin last year in 32 starts. Talk all you want about the record, 10-13, but that's a pretty good earned run average these days.
Very good. 2-2 pitch to Ozuna. Just does get a piece. Ozuna, Jose Martinez, and Yadier Molina for the Cardinals in the second inning. Just checking us out. Brewers with a couple of runs in the top half of this inning. RBI single from Domingo Santana, and an RBI double from Orlando Arcia. Chassin loads up again. Here, there's 2-2 pitch, and that's down the line and past it, diving Travis Shaw, and that'll be extra bases for Ozuna. Braun still trying to chase it down to the corner. Ozuna's trying to get the third. Here's the throw to Shaw, and and he is out at third. Got him.
Wow.
Second Cardinal cut down by the Brewers outfield in as many innings tonight.
And both of them coming with nobody out. I mean, trying to be a little bit too aggressive on the bases. First Dexter Fowler in the first inning. Now Ozuna trying to stretch a double into a triple. How about the throw from Ryan Braun?
Wow.
Tremendous. Right on the money. You see Ryan kind of folded. I think he thought it was going to hit that the side wall out there and jut out. Once he chases it down, check out this throw, how quickly he gets rid of it. And that's outstanding. And the Cardinals satisfied that the right call is made. You can see Tony Randazzo, he's right on it. He's got his nose right in there, and Ozuna and out at third base.
How about the outfield work here in the first couple of innings in this game? Lorenzo Cain in the first and Ryan Braun with a perfect throw here in the second.
Yep, tighten up the defense. They certainly are on a pretty good start to tonight.
And here is Jose Martinez. It's a bouncing ball to Shaw. This will be a long throw for Travis, and he'll make it for the second out of the inning. We're seeing this Brewers defense. I'm going back to the Brewers on Deck event back in January, where the new Brewers were introduced, Kane and Yelich and Jhoulys Chacín as well. And we were asking him about, hey, you know, you got a pretty nice outfield defense here. You'd be pretty excited about coming to Milwaukee for a lot of reasons. Good defense, period, including a very gifted shortstop in Orlando Arcia. But Chacín was saying, yeah, that was something that puts a smile on your face, gives you a little confidence knowing that you've got guys behind you, especially that outfield, who can back you up.
And really, the errors that they have been committing are kind of unforced errors. I mean, routine plays for the most part that the guys have not been able to handle. And that's the frustrating part for Craig Counsell. You know, throws that they probably shouldn't make, trying to make something out of nothing. It's not just giving up extra outs, but extra bases as well.
Here's Yadier Molina. Something the Brewers dealt with last year. You could see the spectacular play, but the more routine plays where the errors would happen, throwing errors, or as you just mentioned, you know, eat the ball on a tough play instead of trying to get an out that's not there to be had. It's a good off-speed pitch from Chacín, 1-2 to Molina.
And that's just a function of guys trying to do too much. I mean, pressure. You know, you're not playing, you're not hitting the way you would like to, so you're trying to make up for it in other areas, and you just can't do that.
Chacín getting some help from his defense early on tonight, ahead of the count, of ball, 2 strikes to Molina. And that is ripped but foul.
And that's a slider that I'm talking about. You know, that hanger with 2 strikes right there. A 1-2 count. That's the one that you want to spike in the dirt, down and away. He hung one right there, inner half, and got away with it. Molina hooked it foul.
The 8-time All-Star, the 8-time Gold Glover, Yadier Molina, including 4 Platinum Glove awards. Best defensive player overall. Another foul ball.
Yep, still going strong, playing just about every day. He's got a couple more years in a 3-year contract.
He does. 35 years old now. But led the league last year again in games started behind the plate. Not one who likes taking a day off. 1-2 pitch. And a little number to third. Shaw is there, and Molina very slow up the line. And Shaw puts him away as Lorenzo Cain in the first inning cut down Dexter Fowler trying to stretch a single to a double. And then it was Ryan Braun nabbing Marcell Ozuna trying to turn a double into a triple. 2-0 Brew Crew after 2.
2-0, and make your next Brewers tailgate one to remember. With Goose packages starting at just $6 per ticket, you can craft a perfect day at the ballpark, complete with seating blocks, all-inclusive areas, party suites, and more. Learn more at brewers.com/groups.
Miller Park, always a great place to be, and especially when you have the roof option early in the season. No such luck here in St. Louis as Lorenzo Cain leads off top of the order here for Milwaukee. Upper 40s. Much more the same expected tomorrow, but Wednesday afternoon, the series finale, it'll be quite a bit warmer. Cain just got popped. Took one. Hit the bat.
Hit the bat, yeah.
Thought it hit him, but nope, it's a foul ball, and it's 2 strikes and nothing.
Yep, right on the bottom of the bat, right on the knob. Right below the hands.
That's scary. Anything there. You saw Eugenio Suarez, the Reds yesterday, broken thumb in a game against the Pirates on a pitch much like that. A lot of injuries here early in baseball to key players.
Xander Bogaerts with the Red Sox are talking about Rizzo going on the disabled list.
I didn't see much of him obviously in the series at Miller Park. Back issue with him. Brewers have their own issues with Christian Yelich on the 10-day DL. He is eligible to come off on Sunday in New York. We'll wait and see where he is with the oblique. Tested it over the weekend and didn't get the result that he was hoping for. Breaking ball is hit hard, but right to Matt Carpenter at third, and there's the first out of the inning. Here's Eric Thames as he strolls to the plate. Let's check out a little of Eric Thames' work here in the month of April this season, including this bomb against Miles Michaelis last Monday. 3 homers for Thames so far. A Powerball home run count.
That took Yu Darvish out of the ballpark a couple of days ago. So April, a very good month for Thames.
11 of them last year for Eric. Dario and Augie talking about that in Brewers Live pregame. It's a short list of players with that kind of power in the first month of the season. Bryce Harper, who has 6 already this year for the Nationals. At 9 in the opening month a year ago. Aaron Judge, Ryan Zimmerman. It's the power company that Thames is keeping these days.
Ohtani's got 3 with the
How about
Angels.
that?
Yeah, huh?
And they flirting with a perfect game yesterday.
Retired the first 19. Boy.
Yeah, we talk a lot about spring training and how the stats, you just sometimes take it with a grain of salt, and his statistics were not good in spring training, and it's been a total opposite for Ohtani the first couple weeks of the season for the Angels.
They were toying with starting him in AAA. I bet they're glad they didn't.
Best moves you make are the ones you don't make sometimes, huh?
Hey, he's something else. Brewers do not see the Angels this year.
Got a little dose of them in spring training in the early days of the Cactus League. A ball, 2 strikes to Thames. A wave and a miss there, and a breaking ball for Michaelis for out number 2. 3rd strikeout for Miles Michaelis.
Nasty pitch, exactly where you want it. Down and in, down near the dirt. And puts it there, and he gets his strikeout. It's been a good pitch for him.
And now he'll face Ryan Braun, one of 3 strikeouts that Michaelis has recorded. Got Braun to win the first inning. The strikeout total is up, and that was something that we talked about out in Arizona. He worked on really cutting that down, and did in the Cactus League. But again, you look at the pitching that he's faced. A youngster here, or in a more inexperienced big league pitcher in Michaelis. Braun with a comebacker, and it's a 1-2-3 inning here in the 3rd. Brewers lead the Cardinals 2-0. St. Louis coming to bat in the home half of the 3rd. some of these defensive metrics on the throwouts from Kane and Braun.
Yeah, you're talking, he got rid of it very quickly, and then almost 200 feet. Now check out Braun. I mean, he's running toward the line, and then he's got to readjust and head back toward the corner. And this throw well over 200 feet, and able to both of them really right on the money, throwing strikes. That was perfect.
A couple of big plays turned in behind Yolis Chassin in the first 2 innings. Paul DeYoung, the shortstop, leading things off.
And let's check out the throw from Ryan Braun, how quickly he gets rid of it. 255 feet on one hop to third base to get Ozuna. That's a heck of a throw.
1-1 pitch to DeYoung is in there, so a couple of hits for the Cardinals, but in both cases trying to get an extra base. The Brewers defense turned them back.
Now, for me, the interesting part of both of those plays was how far those two guys had to go to get to the baseball and then make the throw.
There's a ton of ground being covered. Lorenzo Cain and Ryan Braun did just that. 2 balls, 2 strikes to the shortstop. And this is popped up. Right side, Eric Thames will have a play in foul territory for the first out of the inning. Well, we want to send our best to Brian Anderson. This is normally the time where he breaks away for NBA coverage, and he will be doing that in a few days. But as if you checked out yesterday's telecast, you know, BA lost a very close member of the family. His Aunt Jeanette, Doris Jeanette Cox. Texas, passed away on Friday, so BA and the family in Texas today and tomorrow. And certainly send our condolences to Brian and his family. Losing a very, very dear member of the family, Doris Jeanette Cox.
Yeah, it's a very tight-knit family, the Andersons, and you know, that hit them all very hard. Good that you can fill in for him here in St. Louis, so that he can be with family. And that's the other thing about this Brewers organization. They get that.
Yeah, they do.
Very much family oriented, and they understand and able to make the adjustment.
VA will return. He does have some NBA playoff coverage coming up, of course. We're hitting the end of the regular season in the NBA, and he'll be back for the Twins series in mid-May. But rest assured, he will be here more often than not. He calls it a job share. I'm just keeping the chair warm for him. He'll be back as Colton Wong at the plate, and he draws a walk. First one given up by Yolis Chassin here tonight.
But you've been keeping that seat warm longer and longer every year.
Yeah, it's fun. beats working during the spring and summer.
It is. It's good to be at the ballpark and working with you and BA, Craig Kashan, and yep, all three of you. Been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was good. We got the band back together here and had some laughs, as we always do, and cut each other up as we always do. Here's Miles Michaelis. Got to be careful with him, as we found out the hard way last week. Showing bunt is charging in as Travis Shaw. He'll field it and throw to the covering Eric Sogard for out number 2. Good bunt though for Michaelis.
Yeah, he had a home run off of Zach Davies at Miller Park. 5th inning home run, and really that kind of got Zach Davies on his heels a little bit. He wasn't able to recover after that home run. Big guys, you make mistakes, even pitchers, they can hurt you.
2 outs, runner in scoring position here for St. Louis. Dexter Fowler, who opened the bottom half of the first with that single to left center, and then it was Kane throwing him out as Fowler tried to stretch it into a double. Colton Wong, the runner at second. Fowler, a home run this season. He's driven in a couple. Cardinals have relied heavily on the home run ball the first couple of weeks of this season. Some 55% of their scoring has come via the long ball.
In a ballpark that's somewhat difficult to hit home runs, particularly early in the year like this.
1-0. Oli Chassin, start number 3 with the Brew Crew. One of the big 3 acquisitions that David Stearns made. Of course, the 2 big ones late in January the same day with Lorenzo Cain and Christian Yelich. Chassin trying to help round out this rotation. Jimmy Nelson continues his work, and you know, a lot of folks outside have said June or July. I'm not sure the club is ready to make any kind of hard statement in that regard. There's a liner over Sogard, a base hit. They're going to challenge Santana. Throw to the plate will not be in time as Wong is in. RBI single for Dexter Fowler to get the Cardinals on the board.
Yeah, Dexter Fowler off to a very slow start, but his home run came against Milwaukee, a leadoff home run, and now a couple of hits tonight. Well, Chassin falling behind and has to come in with a fastball down the middle at 89 miles an hour, and Fowler able to turn on it, and Wong with really good speed able to score easily.
So the Cardinals break through in the 3rd inning, and here's Tommy Pham. Hit a fly ball to right his first trip to the plate tonight. Well, Pham, 30 years old, broke through last year with the Cardinals. Hit better than 300, 23 home runs, and the story in last week's Sports Illustrated was very outspoken. Thought he should have been up a little bit earlier. A very intense player and was very productive for Matheny's team a year ago.
I think everybody thinks they should have been up earlier.
You've never heard anybody say, "Nah, you better hold me back for another year or so."
I think you called me up a little bit too soon.
He was point blank. There's some guys scuffling ahead of him and said, "I ought to be up here." Well, what's this guy?
Guys are something these days, aren't they? Wow, 1 year.
He let it rip.
Yeah.
After the final game last year, talking to reporters, Pham said, "I have very big plans for myself in this game. I'm going to have a big year this season for the Cardinals." A ball, a strike. Breaking ball in there for strike 2 call. A walk, a sacrifice bunt, and a run-scoring single, getting the Cardinals on the board. Fowler delivered that single a moment ago. Chassin trying to put Pham away to win this 3rd inning. Here's the 1-2. Just high with a fastball. Brewers got a very good start yesterday at Miller Park for Chase Anderson. Chassin trying to follow that up here tonight. The 2-2.
Yeah, the Brewers have had back-to-back quality starts. Zach Davies and Chase Anderson. Unfortunately, the offense didn't back them up. Pitched well enough to win both of them.
The Brewers yesterday managing just 3 hits, not just 4 on Saturday. They have 3 so far tonight and a couple of runs. Doing their damage in the 2nd inning. They're on the move, and the payoff pitch misses. Ball 4.
That's a good take, Pham. Wow. That's a good hitter taking a pretty good pitch. You're gonna get a lot of swings and misses on that. I mean, that's a strike just about until it gets to the hitting zone. And Pham able to lay off of it. That's a nice at bat.
We'll get a visit from pitching coach Derek Johnson as a couple of walks in this inning issued by Chassin. Runners at first and second with 2 men out. Facing Matt Carpenter. It's the first mound visit of the night. 5 remaining.
Brewers haven't even come close to running out of mound visits. Nobody has.
No.
In any of the Brewer games.
No, we were talking about that in spring training. You know, the Brewers are somewhere in baseball. You think you're going to get one of those old-fashioned arguments because there are exceptions that will allow you, including, it shouldn't be a factor tonight, but if it becomes a rainy night, you can get an infielder coming to the mound and clean off the spikes. That wouldn't count as a mound visit. There's some other ones, other exceptions, but
cross-ups.
Yep.
Get the signs right.
Offensive substitutions, but you think there's going to be a point where you think you have one left, you don't. You'll be a very upset manager.
We're just looking for reasons for guys to get upset, aren't we?
We are. Bring that back. We missed
don't have
that.
arguments anymore. That's one of the fun things about baseball.
Give Ron Gardenhire a lot of credit. I think it was what the Tigers home opener, right, on a replay that was overturned, and it only cost him the game. He went nuts, and maybe with justification. It was a strange overturn, but that was more the old-fashioned manager umpire confrontation.
Then you have the manager Molina dust up,
which was that was a little outside the box yesterday. 2 balls, no strikes to Matt Carpenter. Just don't have those days where you have a manager picking up a base, throwing it out in the outfield like a Lou Piniella.
Or walking off with it, taking it into the dugout.
The good old days.
Yeah.
3-0 to Carpenter. Rounded out in the first inning. Chassin is really having trouble locating the strike zone now as the bases are loaded after back-to-back walks.
Yeah, first 2 starts, he had a pretty easy time throwing strikes. Only had 4 walks coming into tonight's game. Now 3 here in the 3rd inning. Not a good sign.
A little up against it at this early stage of the game. Bases loaded for the cleanup hitter Marcell Ozuna. There's Ozuna, who doubled down the left field line, tried to turn it into a triple, and Ryan Braun threw him out. Fowler at third, Pham at second, Matt Carpenter the runner at first. A run across here for the Cardinals in the 3rd inning. Now they have a chance to turn this into a big inning against Jhoulys Chassin. That is hammered but foul into the seats. Big year for Ozuna last year, and he likes it when the bases are loaded. Chassin trying to get out of this mess with only the 1 run allowed. And he's ahead in the count, 2 strikes and nothing.
Yeah, 2 fastballs in off the plate. Maybe thinking Ozuna's thinking about that slider. And now's when you want to spike the curveball, or spike the slider, I should say, and the impetus is going to be on Manny Pini to keep it in front of him.
And he's good at it. 0-2 the count to Ozuna. Came over in a trade from the Marlins. Cardinals sending 4 prospects to Miami. A 37 homer year last season for Don Mattingly's team. Here's the 2-strike pitch. There's that slider, and there's Pena there to block it.
Yeah. You don't want to hang it in these situations. He hung a couple of Molina that he got away with. You don't want to do that to this guy.
A hit and 3 walks in this 3rd inning for the Cardinals. The hit was a run-scoring single from Dexter Fowler, and he's the runner at third. A ball, 2 strikes to Marcell Ozuna. All-star the last 2 years with Miami before coming over to St. Louis. Now the 1-2. Tried the slider again and missed.
Now this is where you want to get it done here, the 2-2 pitch. You don't want to go 3-2. Be forced to throw a strike. A couple of fastballs in off the plate and a couple of sliders off the outside corner. What do you do here?
Big pitch coming up for Chassin. Crowd sensing it here at Busch Stadium. Early on, but a big moment. A long look in from Yoeli Chassin. The 2-2 up the middle, and that's a base hit. Fowler is coming in. Here comes Pham. He'll score. 2-run single, and the Cardinals take the lead.
Just couldn't put him away with the sliders, and then came in with a fastball. Ozuna waiting for it. There's a fastball down the middle and down in the strike zone, and Marcell Ozuna just drops the head of the bat on it. And hits it hard into center field. You see the shift. Nobody there. Wouldn't have mattered anyway. That's a base hit, and 2 runs in with 2 outs.
A 3-run inning for St. Louis. Runners at the corners as Carpenter moved to third. And now Jose Martinez is the hitter. 3 walks haunting Chassin here. A couple of hits in this inning for St. Louis. Want to know the count. 28-year-old Jose Martinez. Nearly 900 games in the minor leagues he played over 11 seasons. A 1-1 in the air that'll carry out a play.
Did he say anything about waiting too long to bring him up?
I don't think so. If he did, I didn't catch that. I'd have been tempted.
Yeah, that's a long time to be in the minor leagues.
890 minor league games.
Well, he had some guys ahead of him, right? I mean,
did.
he had you know, Matt Adams there was at first base for a while.
The Royals system there for a time, and coming over to St. Louis. Breaking ball, little number up the third base line. Chassin, good pick by Thames at first. Otherwise, even more damage is done, but the Cardinals pick up 3 runs on a couple of hits, 3 walks hurting Chassin. But again, the defense helping the Brewers starter. This time it's Thames with the pick. 3-2 St. Louis. you to please play responsibly. And by Ascension, coming together to give healthcare a better name. We are Ascension. 3-run inning for the Cardinals, a 34-pitch inning from Elise Chassin. 3 walks, couple of hits, 3-2 St. Louis as we move to the 4th inning. As Travis Shaw will lead things off. He started the 2nd inning with a double, and that was a 2-run inning for the Crew. I mentioned he had some big moments in this ballpark a year ago. In that 2nd inning, though, Michaelis has been strong. He has handled the top of the Brewers' order. He's put them down in order in the 1st and 3rd innings here tonight. Two balls, 1 strike, the count to Shaw.
He's got that big curveball that's always in the back of these hitters' minds. And then he has enough on his fastball to sneak it by him. On the inside part of the play, you're talking 95 miles an hour.
Shaw with a ground ball. Colton Wong, and he's unable to get it. Slipped through his glove. And out there, shallow right field, and Travis Shaw is aboard to begin the 4th.
Yeah, threading the needle, beating the shift. And Travis 2 for 2. Not a guy that you expect to go into a long, prolonged slumps with the way he swings the bat. He keeps the bat in the hitting zone a long time, and it looked to me on that play like Colton Wong was thinking about positioning himself to throw before he had the baseball and missed it.
Hit number 4 for Milwaukee. It was Domingo Santana. RBI single for Santana in the 2nd inning. Out there in right field tonight. People wonder, all the outfielders, how are you going to handle it? You hear that line a lot. It might sound like a go-to line. Things take care of themselves, and you get an injury, and you have Santana out there on a little bit more of a regular basis with Christian Yelich out.
Only takes one injury, right, to put that to rest.
Big year for Domingo last year. Going to put together much the same here in 2018. A 30-homer season last year for Santana, driving in 85. Big cut right there.
Man, got off to a slow start. April, first part of May. Really started to turn it on around the month of June, especially with the power numbers.
And especially on Sundays.
Yeah.
Well, you're right. The first month of the season last year, he hit a .197. When the weather warmed up, so did he. It was very consistent. The blip was August, but he had some good months otherwise. Swing and a miss there. That is out number 1 here in the 4th. 4 strikeouts now for Michaelis.
Hey, the Brewers road trip continues through the weekend, but they'll be back at Miller Park for a 3-game series against the Reds next Monday, April 16th through Wednesday the 18th. Check out the complete schedule of promotions and reserve your tickets today at brewers.com.
And you won't have to dress like that if you come to Miller Park. Maybe when you're tailgating, but when you come into the park, it'll be much more comfortable.
Yeah, comfy. A little chilly up here, isn't it?
It's a little bit. A little bit. Here's Eric Sogard. I think we're just getting soft.
I know
softer.
I am.
Softer.
I know I am. Yeah. I admit it.
Very secure in our softness.
Yeah, understand. Snowed a little bit in Milwaukee last night, this morning.
Yeah, not long after we got out of town. Ball in there to Sogard.
Actually had some snow flurries around the hotel when we got in last night.
Yeah, you're right.
In St. Louis.
Which has the folks here very salty. They're not, they're not quite as. They might be even softer when it comes to the cold weather in
Maybe.
April. We're used to it. It's part of the deal in Wisconsin. But on Wednesday here, it's supposed to be near 70, and then on to New York. It sounds pretty good for a couple of days anyway. Blankets will not be required. later in the week. The dedicated here tonight. 1-1 to Sogard. Followed by Manny Pena.
More like Badger football weather, isn't it?
Yeah, or Packers in the case of that young lady.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, now that's good. They're not cold. See? Shaking the head. I'm good.
That's awesome.
The best. So you dress like that, come to the park, we will find you.
Oh, yeah.
You will get some airtime.
Yep.
A ball, 2 strikes to Sogard. Shaw, the runner at first with 1 out. Eric staying alive with 90s fastball from Michaelis.
Eric getting a start today. Jonathan Villar getting at least the first part of the game off.
The Brewers have a 5-man bench tonight. Perez, Aguilar, Bandy, and Phillips just called up. Colorado Springs. Sogard in the air, right field. That's going to drop a base hit. And it gets by Fowler, and that's going to allow the runners to advance as Sogard into second and Shaw to third.
Yeah, that's an E9 right there. Base hit for Eric Sogard and an error to allow him to advance. That's a big play. Eliminates the double play. And Eric Sogard able to dump one into right field. That was a good battle by Eric. More of a slider that time from Michaelis. Stayed on it and watched Dexter Fowler. I think he was thinking about the throw before he had it. Took his eye off of it, and both guys able to advance. There's a break.
Yes, sir. Now let's see if they can take advantage of it. Runners at second and third and 1 out. First error of the night. RBI opportunity for Manny Pena. The fly ball to Tommy Pham in center field, his first trip. Fastball is high and tight. Manny trying to get it going here at the plate. Michaelis finding himself into some trouble. Brewers trying to punch back. They drew the early 2-0 lead. Cardinals with a 3-run third. Milwaukee now with a threat here in the 4th against Matheny's team.
Yeah, look for a fastball out over the plate if you're Manny. 2-0 count.
Worked him away. Orlando Arcia is on deck. The 3-0 to Pena.
Curveball.
Curve on 3-0. How about that?
Thought he was swinging. Yadier Molina dropping the curveball on Pena.
Well, the hitters count. Here's the 3-1. And that is hit in the air, right center field. That's going to fall. The Brewers are going to regain the lead as Shaw is in, and right behind him is Sogard. A 2-run single for Pena, and it's 4-3 Milwaukee.
And nice hit bat. It was a fastball up. It was supposed to be away. Michaelis missed his spot, and Pena able to drive one out there into right center. Now the Brewers offense alive and well, and why not? We're in St. Louis. It was supposed to be away. He left it down the middle of the plate, a little bit in, and Manny able to inside out it into right center. Well, good at bats in this inning. And 2 come across, courtesy of the E9.
So they do take advantage. 6 hits now tonight for the Brewers. There's Arcia. He has one of them, an RBI double from Orlando in the 2nd inning. Michaelis missing with a slider.
The slider's in the upper 80s. The curveball's in the 70s. You know, low 80s, upper 70s, fastball around 95. There's a slider.
And missing again. Well, the Brewers touched him up for 3 homers last Monday at Miller Park. Singles and doubles against him here so far tonight, and 4 runs on the board. Arcia with a little chopper, charging his Carpenter, and the throw to Martinez for out number 2. Pena moves to second.
Well, it certainly does look like an effort for Matt Carpenter to throw the baseball across the diamond, doesn't it? Shoulder issues for him, and that's one of the reasons I would imagine that Mike Matheny takes him out for defense late in the game. He's really having a difficult time throwing.
Yeah, he was primarily a first baseman last year for Matheny. Played a little at second, a little at third, of course, and at third tonight. Here's Chassin with 2 outs. Grounded out his first trip to the plate tonight. Defense helping the Brewers starting pitcher tonight, and the offense as well. The bouncing ball to Paul DeYoung, and he'll throw wide of the bag, but Martinez applies the tag, and that'll do it for the Brewers here in the 4th. But they take advantage of a Dexter Fowler error, and with runners at second and third, Pena gives the Brewers the lead with a 2-run knock, 4-3 Milwaukee. Milwaukee Brewers baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin is brought to you by Miller Lights, great taste and only 96 calories, and by Toyota. Let's go places.
The Brewers retake the lead 4-3 here in the 4th inning at Busch Stadium. A nice chilly light night here in St. Louis. Time now for our UW Whitewater minor league scouting report. We take a look at the Timber Rattlers picking up their first win of the season, and Tristan Lutz picking up his first homer of the season yesterday. He was drafted in 2017, 34th overall pick. He's in the top 10 prospect list according to MLBpipeline.com, coming in at number 9. So good to see the minor leaguers getting it underway.
He's an impressive looking young man too. You know, I think we all had a chance to get to meet him last year after he signed. Could have played college ball at Texas and instead playing pro ball in the Brewers system. He has that look. He's really put together well.
They have some big dudes down in the minor leagues.
Yes, sir.
I mean, very talented, strong, athletic. Not just pitchers, but position players too.
Yadier Molina leading off here for the Cardinals in the fourth. That's the fun of spring training. You get to see, you obviously want to go see the stars, however many innings they're going to play in a given day. But Keston Hero is really someone who caught our eyes out of the Cactus League. 2-strike pitch to Molina.
Yeah, we're going to see Keston here in the big leagues at some point. Maybe not this year, but he can hit. And his defense has been much improved.
That's what Craig Counsell talked about a lot in spring training, as Molina takes a cold third strike. And that's the first punch out of the night for Elise Chassin. Is that strikeout he's looking for?
Yeah, needs a quick inning here. I mean, he's talked about that 34 pitch inning for Chassin, and Brewers just able to get the lead back for him. He needs to get a 3-up, 3-down inning.
Here's Paul DeYoung. Finish the point about Hira. That Counsell talked about that a lot. You get asked, this guy, as they say, he could get out of bed and get you a couple of hits. That old line, and I think it applies with Keston Hira. But Counsell was very encouraged what they saw defensively for the second baseman,
and particularly his throwing arm. His arm is starting to come around. He's always had issues with that arm.
That's the thing with the Brewers, with the moves that they made, and in particular, you get Christian Yelich, and to get a player of his caliber, you're going to have to give up some highly regarded prospects. As DeYoung swings and it sends that one into the air, and that's going to drop into the corner in left field. And the Cardinals shortstop will have himself a 1-out double here in the fourth.
Leaving some pitches up in the strike zone, giving the Cardinals opportunity to put some good swings on it. That's a slider that time, and he's having a difficult time with that pitch. We talked about that on our Pizza Ranch to the Win today. He's got to command that slider, throw it for strikes early in the count, but get it down and out of the strike zone close enough to get the swing and a miss. He has had a difficult time with that pitch tonight.
1-out double for DeYoung. Here is Colton Wong. He walked and scored, part of that 3-run third inning for the Cardinals. First-round pick 7 years ago out of the University of Hawaii, Colton Wong. The third year of a 5-year deal. Two balls, no strikes. DeYoung, the runner at second. The fifth hit of the night here for St. Louis. Chassin had a rocky third inning. We mentioned the runs allowed. He also needed 34 pitches to get through that third inning.
Let's try to change up there to get Colton Wong on a 2-0 pitch. Now he's down in the count 3-0. With a pitcher on deck, he might be swinging.
Here comes that 3-0. Now the 3-1. Little bouncing ball over the mound. Arcia is there for out number 2 as DeYoung moves to third.
And good comeback right there. Down 3-0. Able to get him on a ground ball. Now you got the pitcher coming up. You can get out of this inning.
Michaelis laid down a sacrifice bunt in the third inning. If nothing else, the Cardinals able to turn over the lineup. Chassin trying to keep his team out in front. There's a ground ball to Arcia. The long throw is in time. The stretch from Eric Thames, and that'll do it for the Cardinals. So a double is turned back. It'll be the top of the order for the Brew Crew, led by Lorenzo Cain in the fifth.
players, coaches, wives, alumni, and other team personnel to continue the Beyond the Diamond campaign, a series of community outreach events benefiting the areas of health, education, recreation, and basic needs throughout the greater Milwaukee area. An update for you on Brewers catcher Stephen Vogt. Good progress for him yesterday. He was able to play catch for 2 consecutive days, so he'll continue with his throwing program, but he felt really encouraged that he was able to get through those 2 days pain-free, so he's continued to take batting practice on the field. And with the progression of the throwing program, the big step will be when he can throw behind home plate, and at that point, they'll be able to better determine when he'll go out on a minor league rehab assignment. And again, they're hopeful that timeline will be early May.
All right, Sophia, thank you very much. And that's a bat. That's veteran leadership. I mean, that's that's important to get him healthy and get him back in play here.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, good news on the Jimmy Nelson front too. We were talking to him, before the game. He and Derek Johnson, they extended him to 150 feet on flat ground. They say he's coming along nicely.
Everybody says, and I think you're one of that group too, that the thing with Jimmy is that you got to try to slow him down, right? And he wants to be ready. He wants out there now.
Pull back on the reins on him. He's going to want to be back, by Memorial Day. I think that the Brewers would be happy to have him back by July.
It's that line when he's back, you want him back for good. Make sure he is truly ready to go. Lorenzo Cain leading off and rolls one to Paul DeYoung for the first out here in the 5th. Jimmy was having such a terrific year last year, and I don't know how he got hurt. Trying to dive back into the bag at first after hitting a single at Wrigley Field. 3 Brewers starters came up injured, not on the mound, but either at the plate swinging with Chase Anderson with the oblique, or Junior Guerra running out of the box up the line on opening day, and then that late season injury to Nelson. Here's Eric Thames looking for his first hit. A ground ball and a strikeout so far for Thames. Three homers, 5 RBIs for Thames in the first not quite 2 weeks of the season. Quickly down to the count, 0-2. Michaelis has handled the top of the order here tonight. Top 3 hitters have yet to reach against the Cardinals right-hander. Cleanup hitter, though, Travis Shaw has started the scoring innings for Milwaukee. 2 in the 2nd and 2 in the 4th. It was Shaw who got it going in the 2nd with a double and a single in the 4th.
Yeah, 4 through 8, getting it all done tonight.
4 runs on 6 hits for the Brew Crew as Thames strikes out for the 2nd time tonight.
98 up in the zone, so steady diet of off-speed stuff through 3 consecutive breaking balls, and then check this out, up at the top of the zone at 98. Good luck with that. That's some pretty good pitching.
Yeah, he's impressive. Brewers have been able to get to him a couple of times here tonight, but you see the Cardinals were interested in him, bringing him over after 3 years in Japan.
I believe pitching over there really helped the breaking pitch. They throw a lot of breaking balls over there. Pitchers will tell you that they go over to Japan. I know 3 years, a lot of guys don't go that long, but they say that they really emphasize the curveball, the off-speed stuff, and he's always had that good velocity, but I'll tell you, the curveball, that's a pitch to be reckoned with these days.
His numbers over there were just terrific. Facing Ryan Braun, in on the hands, a roller to short. DeYoung over to first, and again the top of the order is put down in order. We are halfway through the series opener. Brewers lead the Cardinals 4-3. In Whitlock, weekdays at 4 p.m. Central, only on FS1. Get the opinion that cuts through the hype. Bottom of the 5th inning we go here at Busch Stadium. Yolis Chassin now with a 1-run lead facing Dexter Fowler. Top of the order here for the Cardinals. Fowler, Pham, and Matt Carpenter. 2 in the 2nd, 2 in the 4th for Milwaukee. The Cardinals getting all of their runs in the 3rd. Fowler with a ground ball snapped up by Arcia, then bobbles it and tries to recover but cannot make the play. He's 6 to begin the 5th as Fowler is aboard.
Yeah, just couldn't get the handle on it, and Fowler pretty fast down the line. Arcia realized he had to be quick with it, just couldn't get it out of the glove. And once he bobbled it, that's all it took right there. Wasn't really able to get a whole lot on the throw after that. Another unforced error committed by the Brewers.
That's a good pick by Thames. The council talked about saving a base, and they didn't do that in a couple of instances, or more than a couple on the homestand. And Eric able to get that pick and avoid compounding the problem.
Right, that's exactly what Craig Counsell's been talking about as well. Once you make a mistake, don't make it worse.
Brewers have committed an error now for the 8th straight game. Tommy Pham 0 for 1 with a walk, scored a run in the 3rd inning. We were talking about Pham earlier and his outspokenness and being so delayed in getting the big league opportunity. It's also as part of the story he deals with a eye condition, a degenerative eye condition, keratoconus. And it's something he's dealt with for quite a while. Causes issues with the cornea, and it can result in, say, double images, halos. Just makes it very difficult to see. He has been able to manage it with contact lenses, but it's something that he has dealt with for a long time, and they're able to manage it.
I can only imagine how difficult it has to be on him trying to play baseball, let alone just, regular, normal life activities. Eyes, how important is that in baseball, right?
Exactly. To his credit, he has fought through it. A very productive year last year, over 128 games, hit 23 home runs. Tough family background, but has fought through it, and at age 30 trying to establish himself as a regular big league player.
Still has plenty of time to make a lot of money in this game. He keeps playing the way he has.
Full count to the Cardinals center fielder. Fowler, the runner at first. Payoff pitch with a runner going. There's a bouncer over to Shaw, and the play will be at first for out number 1.
Another good job by Chassin. Down in the count 3-0. That's the second time he's been able to get an out after falling behind 3-0 tonight. Able to jam him on the fastball, and with Fowler running on the pitch, the Cardinals able to stay away from the double play. That's just a good pitch. Not a whole lot on it, but right in a good spot in off the plate.
One of those nights he's trying to grind through it. Chassin face Matt Carpenter, who's known for grinding out the at-bats. Worked a walk in the 3rd inning. The strength of Carpenter's throughout his career. He drew 109 walks a year ago. The lowest batting average as a big leaguer last year, but the on-base percentage was still good, 384, because of those walks he was able to draw.
Well, you got to pitch around that guy. I mean, he's one of those guys, especially against Milwaukee, where you just don't want him up late in the game. You work around him, let somebody else beat you.
Here's the 1-0.
That's a little different now with Ozuna behind him in the lineup.
Yeah, a little game changer there, and Ozuna has hurt Chassin here tonight. Couple of hits, couple of RBIs for Marcell Ozuna. A ball, a strike to Carpenter. Brewers up a run here in the 5th inning. Breaking ball miss for Jolie Chassin. Veteran Matt Carpenter out of Galveston, Texas. Texas Christian University. And that is hit well into right field. Santana with room makes the catch. Tagging is Fowler. He'll move to third with 2 out.
They hit it right on the nose. Santana able to run it down. And now you got Ozuna coming up. First base is open. Looks like Craig Counsell wants to go to the bullpen.
He's had Jeremy Jeffress getting loose, and it looks like a change is coming here for the Brew Crew. As Jeremy Jeffress will be called upon with a tying run at third here in the 5th inning. The night ends for Yolis Chassin. 4-3 Brewers here in inning number 5. Thirds innings so far. The 3 runs allowed, responsible for Fowler. Craig Counsell making the move and calling on Jeremy Jeffress.
Yep, 83 pitches for Chassin, but Ozuna's hit the ball hard twice, double and a single, couple of RBIs. Electing to go to his bullpen. And Jeremy last appeared in the game on Saturday against the Cubs.
Faced just the 1 hitter, and it gave up a triple to Chris Bryant in that game. But Jeffress, they win on opening day out in San Diego, and ahead a strike now on Marcell Ozuna. Craig Counsell will need the bullpen in pretty good shape coming into this series. The good work from Zach Davies and then Chase Anderson yesterday. Taylor Williams and Adrian Hauser were the relief pitchers yesterday for Counsell.
And most of the guys had yesterday off. They have Thursday off, the team day off before the series against the Mets.
This bullpen has been good here for the Crew, and a broken background ball there is Jeffress working against Ozuna.
Just some wicked movement from Jeffress. Big fastball with a lot of movement going in on that right-handed batter, and he ate him up. Yeah, Brewers bullpen has been busy.
Busy and effective as they have found a way. It was such a strength of this team last year. Of course, Counsell without Corey Knebel for the next few weeks. the hamstring injury, so a lot of matchups, mix and matching going on. So the Brewers have now exhausted half of their mound conferences. So you get an additional one if you go into extra innings. They've used 3 here so far tonight. Fowler, the runner at third, reached on an error to begin this inning. Ozuna, a swing and a miss, and Jeremy Jeffress comes in and gets a big strikeout and strands Dexter Fowler at third. Good work here from Jeffress as he gets the hot hitter Marcell Ozuna. Jeremy Jeffress coming on in relief of Yolis Chassin, getting a big strikeout. And now Travis Shaw will lead things off. Third time tonight he has led off an inning, and the first 2 went well. A double in the second, a single in the fourth. He has scored a couple of runs. Part of a 2-run inning in each case for Shaw. Check out Travis's night at the plate, presented by Wendy's. Good start to the series for Shaw, 2 for 2. And ahead 2-0 in the count against Miles Michaelis. Here's a 2-0 pitch. Shaw swings and lifts a fly ball to center. Plenty of room for Tommy Pham for out number 1. One out here in the 6th. That'll bring up Domingo Santana. RBI single tonight from Santana in the second inning.
All the RBIs coming from the bottom half of the Brewers batting order.
Yeah, a couple RBIs for Pena. Run scoring double from Orlando Arcia as a one-hopper over to Carpenter for out number 2.
Well, tonight's time of the game winner, you're going to love this one. Cluck's Cologne Saloon in Ringgold, Wisconsin. If they call the Brewers by 10 o'clock tomorrow, they get 40 tickets to a Friday night game in the Miller Lite Beer Pen. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite.
Are you going to tell me you did not rehearse that?
I just saw it.
Just saw it?
Yeah, I had to think about it hard. But, you know, after a couple of Miller Lights, that would be a tough one to name. Cluck's Cologne Saloon.
You handled it extremely well. Here's Eric Sogard. That's big time.
Yeah.
That's mid-season form there.
Ringgold, Wisconsin. That's a first. We haven't had one from Ringgold.
Do we need our director of Tavern of the Game locations to help us
Mike
pinpoint?
Faulkner, he's not here. Maybe he can text me.
Yeah. Come on, Mike. Let's go. Ringgold, Wisconsin. Up by Wausau, I believe, Rock, if memory serves correctly. I only looked that up just to make sure, but I want to say up by Wausau. Here's Sogard shooting one into the gap in left center field. That's a base hit. As on his way to second goes Sogard with a 2-out double. 7th hit of the night for the Brew Crew. And the second for Sogard.
Well, we were saying that he's starting to swing the bat much better. And anytime you see a guy do this, fastball pretty much right down the middle at 96, and he's able to serve it out there in the right center. Hit it hard. And once again, the Brewers have a man in scoring position. They've been pretty good in those spots tonight so far, 3 for 6. Runners in scoring position.
Pena, one of those who delivered. 2-run knock in the 4th inning. Trying to get to Michaelis here once again. Check swing and a foul ball.
Yeah, Ringgold is just east of Wausau, southeast, off of Highway 29.
You knew that.
No,
That's big time pressure work right there, dialing that up.
Google Maps.
It's a saver.
Yeah.
Serious multitasking going on. So Mike Faulkner, stand down. We got it covered.
Yep. Hey, but Mike, he knows him off the top of his head.
He does.
That's the thing.
He really does. It's a skill.
Yeah.
Slider catching the corner, and Michaelis ahead 0-2 to Manny Pena. Brewers trying to punch another run across, leading by 1 here in inning number 6. 2-strike pitch. Brewers won 7 out of 10 meetings against the Cardinals here last year. As they meet tonight, it continues a stretch of 10 straight games for the Brewers against NL Central opponents. Second time around, of course, against the Cardinals. 1-2 pitch. Pena just getting a piece.
And just so effective with that breaking pitch. And then it's when you think you're going to be covering the outside corner with that curveball, and he's going to be busting the inside with, you know, upper 90s.
Counsell getting some offense from his team so far tonight. Shut out 3 times in that homestand. The 1-2. Tried to bust him inside, brushed him back.
Man, thinking maybe trying to cover that outside corner, leaning out there, and straightens him up. That's old school right there.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Sogard a 2-out double. Pena's going to try to pick him up. Here's the 2-2. Pena sends this out of play. Turned into a big year for Pena last year. Shared the role with Jet Bandy in the early weeks of the season. Became the regular catcher and hit .279 and picked off 6 runners. No one picked off more in baseball. Again, the 2-2. Ground ball to DeYoung. It's short. And that'll do it for the Brewers in the 6th. They get a 2-out double from Sogard, but that's it. Bottom of the 6th we go. Still 4-3 Milwaukee. against Marcell Ozuna here, Ron.
Yeah, it was 3 fastballs to get ahead of Ozuna, 1 and 2, and then he puts him away with a nasty split change. Look at the movement on that last fastball going in on him, and here's the change. The splitter gets him out of the strike zone. Perfect pitch, and leaves a man in scoring position with 2 outs. Well done.
That is a game changer, isn't it? That split change when he's got it working, and he put away a hot hitter with the tying run at third. Still work to be done as Jeffress continues on the mound here in relief of Yuliev Chassin. Jose Martinez leading things off as Jeffress missing with a fastball. Martinez a couple of ground balls. Chassin went 4 2/3, 5 hits. All 3 runs were earned. Walked 3, struck out 1. He actually was pretty efficient with the exception of the 3rd inning. Chassin needed 34 pitches to get through the 3rd. Otherwise, he was pretty economical the rest of the night.
Yeah, well, defense, outfield defense helped him out a lot first 2 innings.
Lorenzo Cain and Ryan Braun getting outfield assists early on tonight. As Cain threw out Dexter Fowler trying to stretch a single into a double, and then in the 2nd inning Ozuna tried to turn a double into a triple, and Ryan Braun threw him out. Josh Hader getting loose for the Crew. If you're wondering, the Brewers have never had a game where the left, center, and right fielder have all had assists in a game. Not sure how many teams have ever had that. Brewers are 2/3 of the way home. Little comebacker. Nice stab by Jeffress for out number 1.
Yeah, we need Santana to throw somebody out. Maybe somebody out at the plate.
There you go.
They threw a man out at 2nd. They've thrown a man out at 3rd. I doubt they're going to throw a guy out at 1st.
Well, you never know. Maybe Molina hits one sharply to Santana, and then he's able to throw him out, huh?
Go. Maybe pick him off. Right, throw behind him. Yeah, could happen.
Here is Yachty. Took a called 3rd strike. Only strikeout recorded by Chassin tonight. That was in the 4th inning. Mentioned he still likes to play every day. He started behind the plate 133 times last year to lead the National League. A ball, a strike.
It's like having a pitching coach on the field. It really is. I mean, it's amazing the depth of knowledge that Molina brings. Not just what he does physically behind home plate, but getting pitchers through games.
Swing and a foul. A ball, 2 strikes.
And according to Torey Lovullo, he can influence umpires calling strikes.
And that's exactly how he put it too, right? To Tim Timmons. That fellow is so good at that.
Well, we saw that at Miller Park, you know, when the Cardinals were there. I mean, a lot of borderline pitches, the way he catches them. He gets strike calls.
One of the best ever, no doubt about it.
Just don't light that fuse, because sometimes it can be a bit short.
Yeah, it's happened more than once with Molina. He'll let you know. But they love him in St. Louis. The 1-2 pitch. Fastball misses from Jeffress.
And he might get a call or 2 at the plate. Yep, that one just barely off the edge by maybe an inch. Not even.
2 balls, 2 strikes. And up and in. Almost got him. A full count now to Yadier Molina.
Yeah, split change got away from him. 89 miles an hour.
Eight-time All-Star. Jeffress in a battle with him. Full count to the Cardinals catcher. Here's the payoff. Mentioned Jeffress on opening day went 2 innings. An inning and a third 3 days ago against the Cubs. Faced one hitter a day later. Again, the 3-2. Little bouncing ball to Travis Shaw. And that will be out number 2 here in the 6th.
Hey, clear some space on your shelves because the first Brewers bobblehead giveaway of the season is set for Sunday, April 22nd. The Brewers host the Marlins, and all fans in attendance will take home an Eric Thames bobblehead. That's courtesy of Toyota. Visit Brewers.com for tickets.
I like that. He's got the pose going there in that bobblehead after he launches one over the wall and right. Huh? Looking good. Here's Paul DeYoung. He doubled his last at bat.
The bobblehead industry has really come a long way in really depicting these guys pretty well, right?
Yeah. Including you.
Well,
little disco look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Donny Osmond.
How many of those do you have? To be honest.
I got a few.
Yeah.
I got a half a box.
Yeah. I've got one on my desk. I can look at you every day, Rock.
There you go. Yep. All you need is chuckle every now and again.
Yeah. Little disco bobblehead.
The only bummer about that is we didn't do television that day.
Oh, that hurt.
You know?
Yeah.
I was looking forward to Dean Roscoe to pumping out some disco music and getting into it.
A little ABBA in your future.
Yeah.
I think next Monday night. DeYoung looks at a strike. 1-2 the count.
Back in the day, back in the 70s,
Uh-huh.
that was a thing. I don't apologize for it.
You're a very loyal fan of ABBA. That's good. See you back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Out on the dance floor.
Clemson.
Yeah.
Betcha.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Jeffress looking for a 1-2-3 inning. Here it comes. And he may very well have it. Another chance for Travis Shaw. And Jeffress has faced 4. He has retired 4. Cardinals go down in order in the 6th. It remains a 1-run lead for the Brew Crew.
Come to right field. This is the game in San Diego. Extra innings, able to pound one into right field. And then to win the game against the Cubs with 2 outs. Dumps one down the line and right. And tonight, an RBI single. Actually double. Hits one hard just inside the first baseline for a run-scoring double. So right field, the friend of Orlando Arcia so far.
And he leads off this 7th inning against Miles Michaelis. A 1-for-2 night so far for Arcia. And here's the 1-strike pitch. Starting to show bunts and takes a look at strike 2. 4 through 8 hitters in the Brewers order tonight are 7 for 14. Top 3 hitters are hitless in 9 at-bats. Ground ball to Jose Martinez. He'll feed the covering Michaelis for out number 1. And we will see Jonathan Villar. Remember, the Brewers have a 5-man bench tonight. Council dipping into it as Villar a pinch hitting opportunity. Another good outing though for Jeremy Jeffress. Faced 4, retired 4, including that big strikeout of Marcelo Zuna with a runner at third.
Man, throwing strikes, big movement on the fastball, but his out pitch, that split change, it's been a good one.
Here's Villar, takes a look at a curveball from Michaelis for strike 1.
Jonathan with a base hit against Michaelis back at Miller Park, 1 for 3.
Saw in spring training as it was last couple of weeks, he was getting into a little bit of a groove at the plate. 294 average for Villar coming into this game tonight. And that's what his on base percentage is. He has yet to take a walk so far this season. Not been a big part of his game. Not a part of it at all so far this year. 2-1 pitch.
That's one of the things that he came into spring training trying to improve upon. You know, patience at the plate, not attacking so early in the count, maybe drawing some walks. Always a good thing we can run like he can.
3-1 pitch. Takes a hack at it and fouls it back. You know, the talk in the offseason with Villar, trying to study the tape with Joey Votto. Sometimes you'll see Villar choke up on the bat, just trying to get it in play. No one does that better than Votto.
He does it with 2 strikes.
Here's the 3-2. Ground ball charging is Carpenter. He's got to hurry, and the throw not there. It gets away from Martinez. And Villar will be aboard as Wong backing up. And the Brewers have a 1-out base runner in the 7th.
Yeah, good thing, because Yadier Molina never left a cutout around home plate. You know, Wong doing a good job hustling behind the play. Villar would have ended up at second. Looks like Mike Matheny's seen enough with Michaelis.
It will be ruled a hit. As legging it out is Jonathan Villar. As Rock said, a pitching change coming up. The night ends for Miles Michaelis as Matheny will turn to the bullpen. 1 out, 1 on in the 7th. We'll see Tyler Lyons on the mound with the Brewers up a run over the Cardinals. single. So now Mike Matheny goes to the one and only lefty he has out of the bullpen, Rock, and Tyler Lyons.
Yeah, they put Sheriff on the disabled list today, and Sheriff, I guess Tyler Lyons, the only lefty. So interesting time to bring him in. You thought maybe Matheny would leave Michaelis in for Kane, and then perhaps bring Lyons in for Thames.
Here's the line on tonight's starter for St. Louis. Michaelis goes 6 1/3, 4 runs allowed so far. He's responsible for VR, the runner at first. Those first 3 hitters in the Brewers order have yet to reach a collective 0 for 9. Kane a strikeout and a couple of ground balls so far tonight. Lions will be keeping an eye on VR. Stole 62 bases a couple of years ago. Pitch to Kane, swings and lifts one into right field, shallow. Colton Wong going out, and he'll squeeze it for out number 2. Frustrating nights so far at the plate for Lorenzo Cain.
Yeah, the Brewers got the Lions back at Miller Park. A third of an inning, gave up 3 hits, a couple of runs. Looking for similar results tonight.
Lefty versus lefty now. Eric Thames, he has struck out a couple of times here in this game. See if he can get into one here. Brewers trying to add to a 1-run lead in the top half of the 7th inning. Bullpen game. Chacin and Michaelis, their nights are over. Long look over at first. He'll keep VR in check. VR with a couple of stolen bases so far this year. You hope it's keeping the attention on VR. Maybe that could lead to a mistake with Eric Thames and he can get into one.
And maybe hang a slider. He can knock one out of here. Lions has a good move. You don't expect VR to try and steal.
Saw the career numbers stolen bases for VR. The 62 he had led the league 2 years ago. Well, 1-0. Let's check out the Powerball home run leaderboard. Eric Thames leading the way as he did a year ago in the first month of the year. 3 of them so far for Eric. Braun right behind him with 2. Kane, Pena, and Yelich have gone deep 1 time apiece. 2 balls, no strikes to Eric Thames. 2 outs. VR the runner at first as Lyons misses inside.
And walking Thames is not part of the plan for Mike Matheny.
Ryan Braun waiting on deck.
Give him the green light here. See if he gets one down the middle.
The 3-0. And he did not get one down the middle. Missing inside. And the Brewers now have runners at first and second with 2 men out. And a chance for Ryan Braun to get a big RBI opportunity. Brawny tonight has struck out. Has grounded out twice. And Matheny going with his 1 left-hander in the bullpen.
And nobody loosening in that Cardinals pen. And the advantage of staggering your left-handers in the lineup. Craig Counsell has been doing a pretty good job of that this year. You don't want to have too many lefties in a row.
VR at second. Thames the runner at first. Good chance for Ryan Braun to extend this lead for the Brew Crew. And he will do just that, perhaps. A base hit to left. Here comes Thames. Or rather VR. He has to slam on the brakes. Ozuna with a big arm. And a wise decision, I think, right there. Yeah. Bases are loaded.
I don't know. I think Ed Cedar was thinking about sending him. And with 2 outs, you take that risk. But you're right about Ozuna. I mean, he's got a terrific throwing arm, one of the best in the business, and pretty accurate. That two-seamer 88. And let's see what Ed Cedars doing. He's sending him, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he was sending him.
Something.
Yeah, wasn't feeling it.
Yeah, he wasn't feeling it. Maybe didn't, you know, have good traction or something, but he held up. So you don't normally hold up with 2 outs.
No, you don't. Even with the big arm that Ozuna has. So again, lefty versus lefty as Travis Shaw takes a look at ball 1. I mentioned at the top he's had some big moments here in this ballpark last year. He has doubled, he has singled, he has scored twice. Villar at third, Thames at second, Braun the runner at first. Here's the 1-0. And Shaw sends one into right field, but plenty of room for Dexter Fowler. And the threat is turned back. The Brewers leave them loaded here in the 7th inning. It remains 4-3 Milwaukee at stretch time. From Orlando Arcia that scored Domingo Santana. The Brewers grabbed the early lead, but the Cardinals with a 3-run 3rd inning. Marcell Ozuna with a 2-run single, but the Brewers answered back. Manny Pena driving in a couple in inning number 4, and that's where we stand. A 4-3 ball game. The Brewers lead the St. Louis Cardinals. Bottom of the 7th, and now Josh Hader on the mound for Milwaukee. Lefty versus lefty. He'll face Colton Wong. See the numbers with Hader, kind of that Andrew Miller role. I've talked about that a lot here in the early days of this season. 1-0 pitch to Wong. Talk in the offseason, speculation. Would Hader be a starter? Would he work out of the bullpen? And he has been very good out of the pen, as he was last year for Milwaukee when called up. Jeremy Jeffress went an inning and a 1/3 in relief of Yolis Chassin. Jeffress gave up nothing, struck out 1. Hader falls behind Colton Wong, 3-1. 8-9-1 in the Cardinals batting order. Wong a pinch hitter, and then they turn it over to Dexter Fowler. 3-1 pitch. He's run it full. 24-year-old Josh Hader out of Millersville, Maryland. 35 appearances a year ago, his 4th so far this season for Milwaukee.
And one of the things that has made him so successful so far is his ability to throw strikes. Doesn't walk too many. Fell behind Wong, but able to get the count to full. Don't walk this guy. He's got good speed.
Hader loading up in the payoff pitch. Wong battling. Harrison Bader moving into the on-deck circle for the Cardinals. Again, the 3-2, and Wong shoots one just foul down the third baseline. Extended at bat. Lead off the home half of the 7th inning. Brewers up a run. First of 3 here against the Cardinals at Busch Stadium. Again, the 3-2. And again, a foul ball.
And it just keeps pumping in those fastballs for strikes. Wong able to hang in there. Wong's off to a very slow start this year. Got to make him hit his way on.
And hitting just a .136 so far, Wong. A walk and a ground ball from the Cardinals' second baseman so far. 10th pitch of the at-bat. And he lost it. Ball 4.
Over the slider.
Well, let's go back to the top of the 7th inning. Ryan Braun with a single. You're thinking RBI here. Ed Cedar waving him around, but VR.
He's off balance. I mean, he might not even have hit the bag. I'm not sure, but he was a little bit off balance. He slipped, and because of that, he decided not to head home.
And then Travis Shaw hit a fly ball to right to end the inning. Here's Harrison Bader pinch hitting. Cardinals minor league player of the year last year. Former Lakeshore Chinook. Actually was in the Council home. Councils were the host family for Bader for a time in his stints with the Chinooks. How's that straight back? As things work in baseball, Council the host family for Bader, and it was Bader who had the big RBI in that September 30th game here against the Brewers, the second to last day of the season. Promising prospect for this Cardinals organization. And Hader ahead of the count, pours one in there. 0-2.
Yeah, Hader could use a ground ball here. Top of the order's coming up. Ground ball, double play, face Fowler with nobody on.
2 strikes and nothing. Colton Wong reaching on a leadoff walk. 10 pitch at bat. Three runs, 5 hits for the Cardinals, 4 runs, 9 hits for the Brewers. Both teams have committed an error. The 2-strike pitch. Harrison Bader, the former Florida Gator. 3rd round pick of the Cardinals 3 years ago. Hader versus Bader. The 0-2. Got him. Swinging for out number 1. Breaking ball takes care of Bader for the first out of the inning.
Yeah, good pitch. He took a little bit off. Bader was on the fastball. That might have been a changeup, partner.
Yeah, you're right.
I told you slider. I think that was a changeup. That's a good pitch. He's getting a little bit more confidence with that pitch.
Find that 3rd pitch in the arsenal.
Right. Something to keep those right-handed hitters honest.
Here's Dexter Fowler. Fowler has reached all 3 times. 2 hits, reached on an error. Charge to Orlando Arcia. Wong, the runner at first with 1 out. Wong stole 8 bases last year, was caught a couple of times. Here's the 1-0. Blows one by Fowler to even the count. Good one to open this series on a chilly night.
Well, they've all been good, haven't they? I mean, close.
This team has had a month's worth of drama in the first couple of weeks of the season. They've had a lot of down to the wire games. Here's the 1-1. Make it 1-2. It was fun watching Hader a year ago. Appeared in 32 games. They brought him up in a June trip to Arizona. Just tried to slowly but surely get him into the fold out of the bullpen. Hader in some big moments came up very big for Milwaukee. These young guys who were really thrust into the spotlight, the big stage of a playoff chase. Hoping to build off of that experience and be even better this year. And that is strike 3 called. He catches Fowler looking for out number 2.
Yep, right on the outside corner with a fastball, 93 miles an hour. Gets more and more confidence every time he goes out there, and might have got a little bit off the edge. Yeah, but catches him looking. That's a good pitch.
Yeah, it is. So back-to-back strikeouts for Hader. And now here's Tommy Pham. Walked and scored in the 3rd inning. Pham fly to right in the 1st, grounded to 3rd in the 5th. Aware of the running ability of Colton Wong. He's yet to attempt a steal this year. Pham a swing and a miss. Pham a homer, 2 RBIs early on. Average sitting at 243. 0-1 the count as Wong inches off the bag at first. Strike 2 called. Hader fighting back. A leadoff walk to Colton Wong. Took care of Harrison Bader and Dexter Fowler. Now 2 strikes to nothing to Tommy Pham. 2-strike pitch. Worked him inside.
Man, Wong has shown no interest in trying to run. He can't figure out the move. Really, Colton Wong, a base stealer.
A ball, 2 strikes. Brewers bullpen, a busy bullpen early this season, trying to maintain an effective run that they're on here as Hader misses. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Fifth most innings worked in baseball so far, this Milwaukee bullpen. Lefty ready with the 2-2. Now a full count to the Cardinals center fielder Tommy Pham.
Well, now Wong's going to take off. Got to cut off those gaps. That one just misses. Amazing the pitches these guys take.
Here's the 3-2. He struck him out. Leadoff walk, and then Hader shuts the door with punch outs one after the other. It started with the pinch hitter Harrison Bader. Dexter Fowler took a called third strike, and Bam goes down swinging. Hader comes up big. Brewers up 4-3.
You can stay in the loop on all things Brewers with MLB.com at bat, the app, the official app of the Brewers. With at bat, you get breaking news, live radio broadcasts, and lineup updates sent right to your fingertips. Download at bat today, free for your smartphone or tablet. I have to read faster.
That's a lot. He covered it well. Covered a lot of ground.
Just missed one pitch.
It's all right. He took it. Domingo Santana leading things off for the Brew Crew, and he hits one into right field and right to Dexter Fowler for out number one. New pitcher on the mound for the Cardinals, Sam Tuivailala. Hard throwing right-hander, getting his fourth opportunity this year.
Yeah, last appearance was back at Miller Park on the 4th. Faced one batter, gave up a hit, and was taken out. Another hard thrower in that Cardinals bullpen.
Miles Michaelis went the first 6 1/3. Tyler Lyons finished up the 7th inning. Tuivailala gets the 8th. One out. Eric Sogard at the plate. Good night for Sogard. Single to right field in the 4th and doubled to left center in the 6th. Brewers have 9 hits in the game. They've stranded 6. The Cardinals with 5 hits, and they have stranded 5.
Yeah, Brewers with 9 hits. That's 2 more than they had in the last 2 games against the Cubs.
Yeah, coming alive a little bit tonight.
Yeah. Good to see.
Runs were early, 2 in the 2nd and 2 in the 4th. Three balls, no strikes to Sogard. The 4 through 8 hitters doing the damage here for the Brewers tonight. .30 taking all the way is Sogard for strike 1. Bullpen's doing some good work so far. Jeffress and Hader have handled it to this point for Milwaukee. Tuivailala battles back, now a full count to Eric Sogard. One out with the bases empty. A one-run game in the 8th inning. And Sogard again into right center field, and that's going to find the gap. Extra bases again for Sogard as he will coast it into second for his second double of the game.
There have been 3 hits for him tonight. Well, he said in the beginning of the game he's getting much better at bats, getting more comfortable up there in the box. And taking pitches, took a couple after getting ahead in the count 3-0. And Tuivailala throws him a cookie down the middle on a full count, and he finds the gap out in right center. Brewers need to plate this guy. Another run out there.
Insurance would be sweet, and Manny Pena has the opportunity. So a one-out double for Sogard. Here's Pena, had a 2-run single in the 4th inning. One for 3 night, a fly ball to center and a ground ball to short. Trying to pad this lead right now, just a 4-3 ball game. Fastball is in there to Pena. Activity in the Brewers bullpen. Slider missed to Pena. 2 balls, 1 strike. Couple of RBIs so far tonight for Pena. Chance to add to it. Tuivailala with a 2-1 pitch, and Pena with a fly ball to right field. Drifting near the line is Dexter Fowler. He'll put it away for out number 2. Sogard will tag and moves to third. And 2 away, and an RBI chance coming up for Orlando Arcia. He has knocked in a run tonight.
Interesting to see what Mike Matheny does here. Does he walk Arcia to really make Craig Counsell make the move, right? Looks like he's going to make the move anyway. He's got Aguilar coming in the on-deck circle. My guess is if Arcia makes an out here, it's going to be Hader for Carpenter, and then they make the move.
Arcia checks his swing, emergency, as he tried to bail out a foul ball to Jacob Barnes. Getting loose in the Brewers bullpen.
The question is he coming in right away, or is he going to wait until Carpenter, his at bat is over? The left-hander.
Yep, he'll be followed by Ozuna and Jose Martinez.
He's in there somewhere.
0-1 pitch. Mentioned he doesn't have a lot of hits, but he has made those hits count. 5 hits so far. 2 have won games, and tonight an RBI double in the 2nd inning. The 2-strike pitch. Arcia pops it up. Foul territory. Martinez will squeeze it for out number 3. So the Brewers strand Sogard at third. And the lead remains 1-4-3 Milwaukee in the 8th.
Brewers Live post-game brought to you by Freighter and the Medical College of Wisconsin. The bats have come alive here in St. Louis. The Brewers have 4 runs on 10 hits, including a 3-hit night from Eric Sogard. The bullpen has been great, including Jeremy Jeffress and Hader continuing now. And as always, we'll get reaction from manager Craig Counsell inside the Brewers clubhouse. So that's coming up after the game with Dario Melendez and Jerry Augustine.
All right, Sophia, thank you very much. Well, Rock, as you suggested, you've got lefty versus lefty. Barnes is ready. Hader stays in there to face Matt Carpenter in the bottom of the 8th. 4-3 lead for the Brew Crew. Carpenter down on the count, 2 strikes and nothing.
Well, he's throwing a lot of off speed, isn't he? I mean, good stuff. Sliders, change-ups, working ahead in the count.
Second inning of work for Hader. In the 7th inning, he walked Colton Wong, but then got 3 straight strikeouts. Harrison Bader, Dexter Fowler, and Tommy Pham. 0-2 pitch to Carpenter, missing away. Carpenter will be followed by Marcelo Zuna and Jose Martinez. Here comes the 1-2. Carpenter down the line. That will slice out of play. Carpenter has grounded to short. With a fly ball to right. In between a walk. Part of that rough 3rd inning for Yalish Chassin. Walked 3. Cardinals scored 3 in the inning. Yalish went 4 2/3. Jeremy Jeffress and Josh Hader. And Barnes is ready in the bullpen. Again, the 1-2.
Doesn't swing out of the zone. Matt Carpenter, as cold as he is, he's got that mask on. Still doesn't have any batting gloves. It's impressive.
One of the exceptions to the rule now, especially on a night like this.
Right.
The 2-2. He struck him out. Breaking ball gets Carpenter, and that's 4 straight strikeouts now for Josh Hader. And that will end his night. The Brewers bullpen continuing good work. There is still outs to get, but Hader's night has ended as Craig Counsell will call upon Jacob Barnes. Good performance out of the pen for Hader. He strikes out 4. The Brewers keep a 1-run lead. Lewis bundled up. Brewers bats coming to life. Bullpen strong and needs to stay that way as Jacob Barnes now on the mound.
Yeah, tough luck loser on Saturday against the Cubs. He threw the ball extremely well, but Cubs able to make enough contact to drive in a couple of runs on him. 5th appearance, 270 earned run average. I should say 6th appearance.
Will face Marcell Ozuna as Barnes starts it with a strike. Couple of hits, strikeout, a big strikeout. Ozuna in the 5th inning stranded Dexter Fowler at 3rd, and Ozuna waves and does not get it. 0-2.
You figure it's going to be one cutter after another with these right-handers up, particularly these guys that can hit the ball out of the ballpark. Don't want to make any mistakes inside at this point.
2-strike pitch. Bounces one up there. Now you mentioned Barnes. Statistically, it goes down as a blown save, but he pitched well. That was a day where Barnes deserved a much better fate. Defense got very choppy behind him.
Yep, 4 runs, 2 earned runs.
With 1 ball leaving the infield in that Cubs rally. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. Another foul up the 3rd baseline. .37 homer year for Ozuna last year as a Marlin. Went over for 4 prospects. Big arm, big bat. Facing a big arm on the mound right now in Jacob Barnes. 1 out and the base is empty in a 1-run game in St. Louis. The 1-2. Jose Martinez is on deck.
If you want to miss with that cutter, that's where you want to miss. Down and away. Don't hang it. I wonder if they try a 4-seamer at some point. A little dangerous. You know Ozuna is thinking away here. You try and come inside.
Here's the 2-2. Now a full count to the Cardinals cleanup hitter.
Came inside, but he didn't want to.
Jeremy Jeffress and Josh Hader out of the pen, giving up nothing. 1 out of the 8th inning. Barnes a full count against Marcell Ozuna. And the 3-2. He struck him out. Cutter gets Ozuna 2 outs here in the 8th.
It might not even been a strike, but Ozuna looking out there. He got the pitch that he was waiting for, and he just missed it. Good location. That's outstanding. Right on the outside corner. And down at the knees. Even if you hit it, you don't do anything with it. Nice.
2 outs in the 8th with the bases empty. There's Jose Martinez. He was grounded out 3 times here in this game as Barnes pours one in at 95.
4-seamer.
Martinez is grounded in 3rd and twice back to the mound. 0-1 pitch.
Just impeccable command with that cutter. And he's had it since the beginning of the season. They couldn't find that pitch in spring training.
That's right. Another example of forget the spring training stats. He was, experimenting a bit there with the curveball for a time, and now it's cutter and straight gas. Those are the 4-seamer. 2 strikes and nothing to Jose Martinez. Here it comes. Cutter got him, and Jacob Barnes continuing this excellent performance tonight out of the Brewers bullpen as Hader and Barnes combine to strike out the side. We move to the 9th. It's 4-3 Brewers. Well, let's check out what's on tap, presented by Miller Lite. Brent Suter, the lefty, on the mound for Milwaukee. And Carlos Martinez, who was stellar last week against the Brew Crew. Our coverage starts tomorrow at 6:30 here on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Contrasting styles, you could safely say there.
Yeah.
Suter and Martinez.
Yeah, big time, right?
Sam Tuivailala is still in there for St. Louis. Brett Phillips pinch hitting, and he gets a fly ball out into left center field. Tommy Pham runs it down for out number 1. Phillips just called up today. See how long it'll be, but gets an at bat here in a pinch hitting role and flies to center.
Man, might see him get a start in tomorrow's game. Get him some at bats.
Back to the top of the order, and Lorenzo Cain looking to reach for the first time. 0 for 4 here tonight. Brewers have pounded out 10 hits against Cardinals pitching. Tuivailala following Tyler Lyons. Miles Michaelis started for St. Louis, went 6 1/3. Second inning of work for Tuivailala. Gave up a 1-out double to Eric Sogard. The Brewers could not bring him around. Sogard was stranded at third in the 8th inning. A fly ball off the bat of Manny Pena and a foul pop from Orlando Arcia. It's a ball, 2 strikes to Lorenzo Cain. In a bullpen game, and both bullpens have been terrific here tonight. Little chopper to Tuivailala, bare hand pick, and the throw to first, and dropped by Martinez. And Cain also hit the bag hard, and he is feeling it.
Yeah, did they Cain step on him? Not sure. They're both having a difficult time. Training staffs of both clubs on their way out.
Right leg of Martinez.
Well, go down as a base hit. Tuivailala with a pretty good play to make it close over there at first base. But contact over there, and both Martinez and Cain having a difficult time. That pretty good play right there on the backhand, or the bare hand, and there it is.
Yeah, they kicked him.
He kicked him, Achilles area, and didn't step on him, but he kind of clipped the ankle.
Cain hit that bag hard with the right foot, and then the left foot kicks Jose Martinez.
Might see them both leave the game. Looks like Cain's done for the day.
Brewers already down 1 outfielder, of course, with Christian Yelich on the 10-day DL.
Well, the Brewers do have the luxury of keeping Brett Phillips in the game.
Yes, they do. Phillips pinch hitting to lead off this 9th inning. Now Martinez limping off for St. Louis. So both teams lose a player. Brewers lose Cain. Cardinals lose Martinez. So Matheny will do some shuffling. Matt Carpenter, who played mostly at first base last year, he will go across the diamond from third to first now.
Interesting to see who Craig Counsell elects to pinch run. Maybe use a pitcher. He's got Hernan Perez available. Who will it be?
Yeah, he would be the logical candidate here.
Doubt you're not going to use Suter. He's a guy that Craig Counsell would use as a pinch runner. Brewers have 3 left on the bench.
Perez over there. Counsell, like he was conferring with his bench coach, Pat Murphy, as well. Think it would be Perez. Look like he's getting ready. Let's see. Also, mention Brent Suter. Tomorrow's starter will pinch run tonight.
Normally you don't want to mess with his routine, but he's going to come out and run. I thought that's what they might do. The fact that the Brewers already have the lead, had it been a tie game or maybe down by a run, and you put Perez in there, maybe steal a base, but tomorrow's starting pitcher is the pinch runner.
Find a way, whatever that way may be. So there's your pinch runner, Brent Suter. 1 out, 1 on in the 9th. Eric Thames at the plate. 11 hits now for Milwaukee. Kane has to exit, as does Jose Martinez. Bouncing ball, Carpenter. He'll flip to DeYoung for 1, and that's all they'll get. 3-6 on the force to erase Suter, and there are 2 men out. So it didn't break up Suter's routine by a lot.
No, well, Carpenter goes from 3rd to 1st. And then Munoz over at 3rd.
Here's Ryan Braun. 1 for 4 night. Thought he had an RBI single in the 7th inning, but Jonathan Villar rounding 3rd. He lost his balance and had to apply the brakes. Brewers did not score in that 7th inning. Braun takes a strike from Tuivailala. The bundled up Ryan Braun. Thames the runner at first. 1 strike pitch. Braun with a fly ball into right field. Fowler going back and will make the catch. Just shy of the track, and that'll do it for the Brewers in the 9th. Save opportunity for Matt Albers. Bottom of the 9th. It's 4-3 Brewers. 4-3, Brewers lead the St. Louis Cardinals. A tight one here tonight. You see the damage being done early. Brewers bullpen trying to finish what Jeremy Jeffress started in the 5th inning. And Matt Albers with a save opportunity now for Milwaukee.
Well, he's been outstanding, has not allowed a run, as you can see. 5 innings, 4 appearances.
Will face Yadier Molina, and Albers starts him with a slider for strike 1.
There was Corey Knebel on the disabled list. Craig Counsell giving Albers the opportunity here today. There's Jacob Barnes on Saturday.
The last 6 outs recorded by Brewers pitching have come via the strikeout. 7 of the last 10 have been that way, and Molina just breaks the streak with a single into right field. That is his first hit of the night, and the tying run is aboard.
Yeah, fastball up in the strike zone. Molina does that as well as anybody, taking it to right field.
And now Paul DeYoung.
Somewhat surprised they're not going with a pinch runner. Molina, one of the slowest guys in the league. You got Garcia and Pena on the bench.
Good point. See if the Brewers can get that ground ball. Bounce back year for Albers a year ago with the Nationals. Struggled mightily 2 seasons ago with the White Sox. Chance to get his 3rd career save. 1-0. It's a bouncing ball knocked down by Albers, and no play anywhere. Runners at first and second.
Well, if Albers doesn't touch it, Arcia's probably got a play on it. He touched it, slowed it down. No chance for anybody. Took DeYoung a little bit of time to get out of the box after getting jammed. Arcia right on it. I think he would have had a play on it, but Albers knocks it down, slows it down too much.
So a big threat, and now Luke Weaver will come on a pinch run for the Cardinals. So both Matheny and Counsell using pitchers to run here in this 9th inning. Wheels are turning.
They got Greg Garcia on deck in the pitcher's spot, then the top of the order. Let's see if Wong's up there to bunt. I imagine he is. That's why Craig Counsell went out there and had a chat with his infield.
Brewers down to 2 mound visits left, but now getting in the 9th inning. It's 2 to burn, so they're in pretty good shape in that department. Luke Weaver, the pinch runner at second. Paul DeYoung, the runner at first. Colton Wong at the plate. A threat for St. Louis, down 1 here in the 9th with nobody out. And Wong pulls back and takes ball 1.
Good thing for the Brewers that the Cardinals have a pitcher out at second base. He's not a base runner. Might not get a very good jump. They might be able to get the out at third. Does not have a very big lead.
The 1-0. Wong. Perfect bunt. Third base side. No play anywhere.
Well, we've seen this game before, haven't we?
Sure have.
Saturday against the Cubs at home. Same thing. Wow. Kidding me?
Well, the Brewers really up against it. Bases loaded with nobody out. A perfect bunt.
Perfect bunt. You can't do anything about that. You can't defend it. Manny Pena does the right thing and holds on to it.
And now Greg Garcia on the pinch hit. He is 0 for 4 so far this season as a pinch hitter. A single to right from Yadier Molina. Infield single for Paul DeYoung. Bunt single for Colton Wong. And that's the mess that Matt Albers faces. Infield in. And Garcia takes a strike.
Got to go home with it. Anything on the ground, maybe you get the home to first double play. Albers has to get the ball down.
One strike pitch. Fly ball, center field. Brett Phillips coming in. It's shallow. Catch is made, and the runners hold as Phillips rifles one in.
There you go. There's one. Now you double play. Now the Brewers can bring the middle infield back and try and turn two. Let's see if they do that. You'd rather do that. Protect against the flare over the infield.
One out, bases loaded for Albers. I mentioned Brett Phillips stayed in the game in center field. Hernan Perez is the new left fielder. Enzo Cain had to exit in the 9th inning.
Brewers are going to play for the double play up the middle.
Fowler, a 2-hit night so far. Fowler singled in the first, was cut down trying to turn it into a double. Run scoring single in the third, reached on an error in the 5th. Took a called third strike in the 7th. Albers with a 1-0. Make it 1-1. Another white knuckler here for the Milwaukee Brewers, and they have had a few of them early in this season. Bases loaded with one out. Break-even pitch. Strike two called.
Yeah, right at the bottom of the zone. That's where you want it. Get your ground ball. That's where you get them, down there. Check out Manny Pena, the way he catches it. He holds it right there. Gets a call.
A ball, 2 strikes to Dexter Fowler. Here it comes. Fastball high.
You got very good throwing arms in the outfield, including left with Hernan Perez. Best throwing arms in center.
Yeah, Phillips has a rocket of an arm. Albers ready with a 2-2 pitch. Fly ball, center field, and deep enough. Phillips the catch. Coming home to tie the game is Weaver as the throw goes to third, and we are tied at 4. Sacrifice fly for Dexter Fowler.
Up on a 2-strike pitch. Albers left that one up in his zone. That's not where you want to throw it. Strike 2 is perfect. Left that one up and gave Fowler an opportunity to lift it. Up and away, plenty deep enough to score.
And now Tommy Pham at the plate. Brewers trying to push this to a 10th inning. There's a ground ball to second. Sogard. Let's play 10. Cardinals pick up a run in the 9th. A sac fly from Dexter Fowler. Shaw, Santana, and Sogard ready to go to work as we continue in St. Louis.
late sign right at the end of March. 41 out of 45 with Colorado last year.
He will face Travis Shaw leading off the 10th inning for the Brewers. Yeah, Holland signed on the 30th of March, and he will be working with Francisco Pena behind the plate for St. Louis.
And both teams with the middle of their orders coming up.
Shaw started the rallies in innings 2 and 4. Leaves and does not get it. 1-1 the count. And with Holland signing late, he was getting ready pitching at their Class A affiliate in Palm Beach. A couple of appearances. He gets the call here in the top of the 10th inning in a 4-4 game. 1-1 to Shaw. Shaw, Santana, and Sogard here for the Brewers in the 10th inning. This will go out of play. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Yeah, Brewers have the advantage on the bench. Cardinals are out of position players. Brewers have 2 left, Bandy and Aguilar.
Both managers grinding it here tonight. Again. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Travis Shaw leading off here in inning number 10. And a full count. Holland, one of the premier closers. His terrific years with the Kansas City Royals.
National League Comeback Player of the Year last year, 2017.
Yeah, coming back from Tommy John surgery that kept him out all of 2016. He's an all-star in 13 and 14 with the Royals, as well as last year with the Cardinals. The arm went south late in the 2015 season. He had appeared in 48 games, but then was shut down and did not pitch in the postseason and did not pitch at all in 2016. But the Rockies had faith in him, and he delivered for Colorado a year ago with a league-high 41 saves. Shaw looks at ball 4, and the leadoff man is aboard for the Crew in the 10th.
That's something that Holland doesn't do a whole lot of when he's in the middle of the season. Got to figure a little bit rusty here tonight. Not exactly ideal conditions to have your first appearance. A little chilly, but you see 370 games and 186 saves. All coming since 2010.
32-year-old Greg Holland. Lead-off walk to Shaw, and here is Domingo Santana. And that bounces up there. Good block by Pena.
Saving a base. The Brewers have had a man at second base with nobody out.
Francisco, the son of former Cardinal Tony Pena. Cardinal 87, 88, and 89 for this Cardinals ball club. 1-0 pitch. Bounce that one as well.
Not even close.
Maybe the rust will work in Milwaukee's favor. Shaw reaching on a walk. Santana with a 2-0 count. Here it comes. Make it 3-0. Eric Sogard is on deck. He has had a 3-hit night as Sogard, hitting a couple of doubles. Holland ready with the 3-0.
Yeah, throw another one of those.
Hitters count for Domingo Santana. Shaw, the runner at first, the 3-1. Big swing and a miss.
He did 82 or 92 miles an hour. Holland normally throws a lot faster than that. Velocity down as you would expect.
He's a guy you figure he can, when he's in rhythm, it's mid-90s at least. Payoff pitch coming to Santana. And back-to-back walks to begin the 10th inning. And a threat here for Milwaukee. And Matheny is going to make a move.
Well, he does have activity. He just started out in the bullpen.
Bud Norris.
Not sure if he's even close to being ready. He just started. I think this is one of those bunt defense meetings right here. Sogard up. You got nobody out. Remember, the pitcher's spot is now the third spot in the Brewers batting order. That's Braun's spot. So you've got, after Sogard, Pena, Arcia, and Phillips.
Well, the Brewers are in business. Walks to Travis Shaw and to Domingo Santana. Here is Holland facing Eric Sogard. Cardinals with a run in the 9th inning to tie this game. Brewers with a threat in the 10th. Against Greg Holland making his Cardinals debut. Corner infielders creep in as Sogard shortens up and takes ball 1. Couple of doubles tonight for Sogard, as well as a single to right field. Trying to move the runners up if he can. And the 1-0, Sogard pushing it third base side. This will work. The throw over to first. Colton Wong able to hold the bag. Good bunt though from Sogard. Runners at second and third with 1 out.
Yeah, thought maybe Munoz might let that go and maybe see if it was going to go foul, but he didn't want to take the chance. Have it stay fair, and then the bases would have been loaded. He takes the out, throws off the mark. I believe the Brewers might take a look at whether Wong was able to keep his foot on the bag. Looks like it. Maybe not.
They have Cardinals wanted to push the tempo there. They wanted to issue the no pitch intentional walk, but it looks like counsel was satisfied.
Right. Want to make sure he had a chance to take a look at that play at first.
Sogard moves the runners to second and third. Pena walked intentionally. And with the bases loaded, 1 out, Orlando Arcia is at the plate. With Brett Phillips on deck. Arcia with a couple of huge hits this season already for the Brew Crew. Chance for another one in extra innings. And that bounces up there, and Pena is able to gather, is holding at third. Is Travis Shaw. When in doubt with 1 out, hang on.
Hold on. I mean, that wasn't even near close enough to be able to score. Travis doesn't run all that well. That's a nice block. He keeps it close enough. No chance to score on that. But that's the other thing. I mean, Holland's been all over the place. You got to get that big secondary lead.
He has spiked multiple pitches here in this 10th inning. 1-0 the count to Orlando Arcia. A run scoring double back in the second inning. 2 balls, no strikes. A rocky debut as a Cardinal for Greg Holland.
$17 pitches, only 6 strikes.
3 walks, 1 intentional. We walked Shaw and Santana to begin this 10th inning. Here's the 2-0. Now it's 3-0.
They'll take at least one here.
Shaw representing the go-ahead run. Santana at second, Pena and the intentional walk, the runner at first. 3-0 pitch. And the Brewers take the lead. Arcia draws the bases loaded walk, and it's a 5-4 lead for the Brew Crew.
Yeah, 4 walks in the inning, 1 intentional. I just got to wonder how long Mike Matheny's going to stick with Holland, and here he comes. He's done. Not a good first impression for the Cardinal folks here.
No, the debut not going well for Greg Holland. As he walks home a run, Matheny goes to the bullpen. And in the meantime, the bases remain loaded. Let's see if the Crew can turn this into a huge inning. 1 is home so far. A 5-4 lead for Milwaukee. Another pitching change coming up in St. Louis. Four walks, 1 intentional. He's out. And now Bud Norris is in. He inherits a bases loaded situation.
Yeah, last time out was the 7th against the Diamondbacks. He picked up a save, his first. A scoreless inning that included 3 strikeouts. Fastball, he throws well, and he's got a good slider.
And the second at bat of the night coming up for Brett Phillips as the Cardinals bring the infield in. Santana at third, Pena at second. Orlando Arcia, who drew the bases loaded walk to give Milwaukee this lead, is the runner at first. Phillips in the 9th inning hit a fly ball to center. And he takes a strike from Norris.
Never know, you might see a squeeze here. Greg Counts would love to get that second run.
Phillips rejoining the big club today from Colorado Springs. Facing the veteran Norris, 1-strike pitch. Phillips was really scuffling in spring training. But then toward the end, he was starting to catch a little bit of a groove at the plate. Hit a couple of long balls the last week and a half or so of the Cactus League. Has handled everything well beginning this season in Colorado Springs, getting a chance here tonight. Remember, Lorenzo Cain had to leave the game in the 9th inning. Who knows how long this stay will be for Phillips. Big opportunity now. Another one of those guys last year who got the taste of the high stakes games. He played well in September, hit better than 300 that month.
Hey, you're right. You never know what's going on with Lorenzo Cain, and could very well, never know. He could stick around, right?
Possibility. Phillips down on the count, a ball, 2 strikes. Bases loaded with 1 out. Brewers with a run in so far in the 10th inning. Norris with a 1-2, and he strikes Phillips out swinging for out number 2. Big punch out for Bud Norris.
That was all fastballs. That was down in the strike zone. Normally, Brett Phillips likes to pitch down there.
Well, there are 2 men out, and Hernan Perez will get his first at bat of the night. A tough start at the plate to the season for Perez. He takes a strike from Norris. Perez at the top of the order. Cain exited in the 9th inning on an infield single. He clipped the first baseman Jose Martinez, who also left the game. A ball, a strike to Perez. He came into left field for Braun. And Phillips, who was pinch hitting, stayed in the game in center. A 4-walk inning has given the Brewers the lead. Perez with a chance to add to it. Break-even pitch.
The Brewers showing real good patience in this inning.
Shaw and Santana drew walks to begin this inning. Eric Sogard moved him up with a sacrifice bunt. Pena was intentionally walked, and then Arcia walked with the bases loaded. It was all against Greg Holland.
Yeah, 1 ball in play, right?
2-1 pitch. And the Brewers are 1 more outside the zone away from pushing across another run via the walk.
Get him any way you can get him at this point, right?
Yeah, don't be picky.
Right.
Help was feeling for Mike Matheny and Mike Maddox, the pitching coach. Hernan Perez ahead in the count, 3 balls, 1 strike. There it comes. And there's a fly ball hit into left field. Lots of room for Marcell Ozuna. He will make the catch. And that'll do it for the Crew in the 10th. But the walks giving the Brewers the lead. Arcia draws it with the bases loaded. 5-4 Brew Crew. as we move to the bottom of the 10th inning. Cardinals with a run against Matt Albers in the 9th. But Arcia, drawing just his 3rd walk of this season, did so with the bases loaded against Greg Holland. And now Matt Albers trying to turn a blown save into a win. He will begin the 10th against Matt Carpenter.
Man, a little different look right now. You got 3, 4, 5 coming up for St. Louis.
Carpenter, Ozuna, Jairo Munoz. 0-1 to Carpenter. And the Cardinals in the 9th. Molina started it with a single to right field. Infield single, bunt single, and then eventually a sacrifice fly off the bat of Dexter Fowler. But then Albers was able to extend the game by getting Tommy Pham to bounce to second. And Carpenter behind in the count 1-2.
Man, got that one up in the zone. Man, Matt Carpenter, after striking out at the hands of Josh Hader, takes the mask off. He doesn't have it on anymore. And that's not working.
A ball, 2 strikes. Albers trying to put him away. Not yet. Second extra inning game of this young season for Milwaukee. First one coming on opening day. Needed 12 innings to beat the Padres at Petco Park. Carpenter leading off here in the home half of the 10th, and he rips one down the line, but foul. Only the second time that Albers has matched up with Carpenter. Carpenter did get a hit against him. He's hitless, but he did walk in the second inning, and a strikeout here as down goes Matt Carpenter, 1 out of the 10th.
Another elevated fastball. This time Carpenter swings at a pitch out of the strike zone. You don't see that very often. Not with Carpenter. I mean, clearly up out of the zone. Not even borderline, and there's a big out. You get that leadoff hitter out.
One out of the 10th for Marcell Ozuna. It is damage early. 2-run single in the 3rd inning. If you're wondering, Ozuna has 1 hit against Albers in 4 career at bats. The 1 hit was a home run.
He's going to try to do to him that what Jacob Barnes did, keep everything away, that slider.
1-strike pitch.
He's going to take you deep, make him go to the opposite field. Difficult on a night like tonight.
This Brewers bullpen has racked up 8 strikeouts tonight. Yalish Chassin had 1 in 4 2/3 innings. Break-even pitch. And Ozuna down to the count, a ball, 2 strikes. Jeremy Jeffress, Josh Hader, Jacob Barnes all gave up nothing. Albers touched up for a run in the 9th, but a chance to get the win here in the 10th.
Get the slider off the plate. He hung that last one, got away with it.
The 1-2 pitch. We'll do it again. Jairo Munoz is on deck. Former Miami Marlin Marcell Ozuna facing up against Matt Albers. He went 7-2 with the Nationals last year, did Albers. Again, the 1-2. Slider low and away. Five runs, 11 hits for the Brewers. They have stranded 11 tonight. Four runs, 8 hits for the Cardinals. Albers with the 2-2. Again, the slider missed. Nothing easy.
No. Middle of the order up. Throw the slider again down there.
Full count to Marcell Ozuna. Bases empty here in inning number 10. Payoff pitch. Fly ball to center. Going back is Phillips. Has it tracked. Out number 2.
With a fastball right down the middle, and Ozuna, he barreled it up, didn't he? Put it on the line, kept it in the ballpark.
The Cardinals now down to their final out. Albers retiring Carpenter on a strikeout. Ozuna on a fly to center. And now Jairo Munoz came over to this Cardinals organization from Oakland in the Stephen Piscotty trade. Long night, but Brewers trying to make it a good one. 2 outs and the base is empty in the 10th inning. Here's the 1-0. Francisco Pena is on deck. 23-year-old Jairo Munoz at the plate. 2 balls, no strikes. Munoz getting his first taste of the big leagues this season. He is 1 for 8 at the plate, appearing in his 7th game. This is game number 10 of the year for the Cardinals. The 2-1.
Good two-seamer right there under the hands. Munoz thinking long ball here. That's a good pitch.
Albers 1 strike away from getting the win. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Munoz. He struck him out, and the Brewers win it. Blown save, who cares? Albers gets the win as the Brewers push across a run in the top of the 10th, and Albers puts him down in order in the bottom of the 10th.
Crazy, right? I mean, what a game it was, and the Brewers end up winning with 4 walks. They do not get a ball out of the infield and end up winning the game. Well, it doesn't matter how long it takes, as long as you win, partner.
That's exactly right. It went fast, as it turns out. Brewers get the win, 5-4. We'll take a break, but stick around. Brewers Live coming up with Dario and Jerry talking about this Brewers win in 10 innings.